o'clock. It's time for the council meeting session. Will council members please come to the council chamber?
grandson is here. Corazon. Oh, okay. Okay. letter comes from Ferraro. Oh.
We have Mr. Bernstein's here, Ms. Goldberg, Mr. Hernandez, Ms. Misakowski, Mr. Ridley Thomas, Mr. Vernich. We have 7 members present. We need 2 for a quorum. Ms. Alatorre, Mrs. Chick, Mr. Fuhrer, Ms. Galanter, Mr. Holden, Mr. Wax, Mrs. Walters, please come to the council chamber. Could we have the attention in the council chamber? We have a presentation today, so let me just point out that this is a meeting of the City Council for the City of Los Angeles on the Cinco de Mayo Day. We want to wish everybody a happy Cinco de Mayo. There are 15 council districts in the city. The regular meeting days are Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We are currently being viewed by cable subscribers throughout the Los Angeles area on Channel 35, and we're also being monitored by council phone. So with that, I'm going to call upon the councilman from the 12th District, Hal Bernstein, who wants to show off some of his fine people from the 12th District.
Well, Mr. President.
And I'm not referring to the mayor.
Well, Mr. President and members of the council, I'm particularly proud, obviously, of having CSUN in the 12th District. But something has occurred this year that has never taken place in the history of the college, and that is that we have a championship team of women from the Big Sky Conference champs. And you have to understand that they just recently moved up into this division within the last couple of years, and for them to attain a championship at this level is a major accomplishment for a fairly new university. So at this time, I want to join with the mayor, and I want His Excellency to step forward here, in honoring the women's basketball team from Cal State Northridge. It says, 1999 Big Sky Conference champions, Rosina Jarrell, head coach, Karen Howell and Tara Harrington, assistant coaches. And the players, Linda Mari, Ednisha Curry, Katosha Goen, Keisha Harris, Jamia Jones, Nita Millick, Leah Rice, Leanne Bennett, LaShonda Fowler, Tina Greer, Natalia Jonas, Viveka Loff, Maja, I hope I'm pronouncing this one correctly, Maja Mazurovic, and Daphne Virept. On behalf of the citizens and the residents of Los Angeles, I am pleased to join, it says, I'm reading your part. It says I'm pleased to join with Councilmember Hal Bernstein. In this case, I'm pleased to join with the mayor. I'm pleased to join with the mayor in congratulating all of you on winning the NCAA Division I Big Sky Conference title, the Big Sky Tournament Championship, and on being seated 15th in the NCAA tournament. We applaud you on a 21-7 regular season record, which would not have been possible without the guidance of head coach Forenza Jarrow and assistant coaches Karen Howell and Tara Harrington. Each of you is to be commended for your hard work and dedication to excellence, which made this year a great success. And next year we want to go further. We want to win the NCAA, right? Okay. We join your family, friends, and supporters in wishing you the best in the days and years ahead. And Dick, you want to add to that, please? You want to read my part?
I am very pleased to join Councilman I'm very proud to be here with some very special Angelinos. The Cal Sun basketball team shows that you can both be scholars and athletes at the same time, and that learning to win can help young people throughout the rest of their lives. Now, I'd like to ask Forenza and Ednisha Curry to come up. Where's Ednisha? She here?
Anisha's in class.
Well, I want to, who's here?
Frozina.
Well, Frozina, we have, Frozina, Juro, but I'd like, who is, how about Maha? Is she here? Maha?
Maya's not here, just
And
Keisha.
who?
Keisha and Linda.
Okay, Key, come on.
Come on, Keisha.
Hal Burnson has challenged the CSUN basketball team to a basketball game between the city council members and the mayor. And Hal Burnson will be the point guard, Mike Hernandez will be the shooting guard, John Ferrara will be the power forward, and Mark Ridley Thomas will be the coach. Do you think we can beat this team? Right. But, Frozina, do you want to say something?
Yeah, I'll say a few words. I'd just like to thank you for this honor. This is great to be, for my team to be here. Unfortunately, they all couldn't be here. We're approaching finals time, so a few of them are back at campus studying, and rightfully so. But I'd just like to thank you for having us, and like you said, I know bigger and better things are expected of us next year, and we're ready to give them to you.
Championship next
Championships, yeah. Thank you.
And I want to know, do you think, would you like to play against the mayor and the city council?
Sure. No problem.
And who would you like to guard?
Don't look at me.
I'd rather guard you.
Well, tell us, what was it like to win the Big Sky Conference? Did you?
It was nice. I enjoyed it, and it was my first time to go this far. I never gone this far before, and I really enjoyed it. I had fun and everything, and we're gonna go far next year. So,
Great.
yeah.
Okay, well, congratulations. We love you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Good to meet you. Thanks for having us. Thank you.
Ms. Goldberg?
Congratulations to you, okay? Congratulations.
Particularly to your coach, who's no longer interim, I understand.
Yes.
And we're very happy about that. Fortunately, a few of your games were televised, and a lot of us had a chance to watch you. And we just wish you all the best of luck, because you've got quite a program there, and I think it can only go up from here as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, Sergeant,
You want to take a picture? Let's take a picture. Then we'll go back. We'll go back. I'll say hello to my friend.
okay, call the roll.
Alatorre, Burnson, Chick, Fuhrer, Galandra, Goldberg, Hernandez, Holden, Miskowski, Ridley Thomas, Varnish, Wax, Walters, Ferraro, 10 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Sergeant, would you ask those people to leave? First order of business?
Approval of the minutes.
Mr. Hernandez moves, Mr. Savornich seconds. There's no objection, unanimous vote. The next item.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Yeah, you throw them out. Well, they're doing it, aren't they? They're doing it. What's that? Next item.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
There's no objection, unanimous vote. The next item.
On the regular agenda, items to be continued. Item number 4, request to continue till September 8th.
What item?
Number 4,
Continue until when?
September 8th.
There's no objections, that will be the order.
Item number 13, request to withdraw from the agenda and refer to the ad hoc committee on city budget.
There's no objections, unanimous vote.
Item number 14, withdrawn from the agenda and referred to the Public Safety Committee.
If there's no objections, unanimous vote.
Item 23, a request to continue till Friday, May 7th.
If there's no objections, unanimous vote.
Item 25, a request to continue till Friday, May 7th.
If there's no objections, unanimous vote.
On the regular agenda, appointment of city official, number 6.
Yes, John Esses, would you come forward, please? We have appointment to the Los Angeles Convention and Exhibition Center Authority.
Good morning,
Is there
council
any-
members.
Any discussion? If not, Mr. Hernandez moves, prepare the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 eyes.
You're approved. We want to thank you for serving, and you just expect you to work as hard as your father did when he was on the police commission.
Thank you very much. It's my honor and privilege. Thank you.
Okay. Forthwith on that. Yeah, I know.
8 and 21.
Okay, the next item.
Item number 1, items noticed for public hearing.
Is there anybody that wants to be heard in item number 1? Seeing none, the public hearing is closed. Any well, this is going to be a second hearing on the 26th of May. If there's no objections, we will continue item 1 until the 26th of May. Next item, item 2, we'll hold on the desk for the time being. Next item.
Item number 3.
Item 3, is anybody in the chamber wants to be heard on item 3? Seeing on the public hearing is... You have it before you now? Okay. Item 3 will, the public hearing is closed. Public hearing is closed, we'll leave it on the desk. All right, Mr. Hernandez for a presentation.
Mr. President, members of the council, thank you for allowing me to make a special presentation today. For many of us, there's a celebration going on today called Cinco de Mayo, and I wanted to take this opportunity to share with everybody what Cinco de Mayo has to do with California, and at the same time celebrate in a short way one of what we call East LA's greats, Bobby Rodriguez, who is known as an educator to our youth. A lot of people don't understand the relationship of Cinco de Mayo and El Grito, but basically Cinco de Mayo was the Battle of Puebla. And it was, I heard earlier Mr. Bernson refer to the mayor as His Excellency, and I'm not sure if he was making reference to Cinco de Mayo when people were fighting a dictatorship. But the reality was, in 1810, California was still part of Mexico. And I share that with everybody because when I went back to Washington, D.C., I shared with many of you how I took great pride and honor as an American to learn more and more about American history. But the realities were, 1781 was when the city of Los Angeles was founded, and it wasn't until 1848 that the state of California became part of the United States. So part of the history of California includes the history of Mexico. And when we talk about celebrations like Cinco de Mayo, there's a strong population that relates with that history. And it's important that as Californians, we can share it with each other. When we talk about El Grito, basically September 16th, again, that was a celebration that Californians participated because they were dealing with the dictatorships of Spain. And Cinco de Mayo is dealing with the dictatorship from France. And what you need to know, everybody was fighting for California, and the United States history had something to do with that. I'm sharing it with you because it was a tremendous victory when a small town stood up to, at that time, the French in this battle and took on a French army against all odds and won. And it became part of that foundation that declared independence and that allowed, I believe, California to work with American forces to declare its independence from Mexico. And so again, it's a history we can all share. As part of that history, we like to honor our own. And when I say our own, people from our community, and I'm talking about the Mexican-American community, that are basically Angelenos, long-term Angelenos. And what we have before us today is someone who basically has been recognized for his music as a famous trumpeter. Bobby Rodriguez is a gifted musician and a teacher. You need to understand that he spends a lot of time with our youth. He also traveled worldwide, earning gold and 3 platinum records. He has recorded and performed with Quincy Jones, Lalo Schifrin, Ray Charles, Herbie Hancock, Chaka Khan, Earth, Wind and Fire, and many others. When we talk about him as an educator, in terms of talking about his life and promoting the art form of music, you need to know that in 1998 he was awarded the Jazz Educator of the Year by the Los Angeles Jazz Society. He's the governor of the Board of National Academy of Recording Arts and Sciences, director of jazz and Latin jazz ensembles at USC, Pasadena City College, Los Angeles County High School for the Arts. And for the past 9 years, Bobby has served as president of Hispanic Musicians Association. He's a graduate of Cal State University Long Beach, and he just recorded a new CD called Latin Jazz Explosion. I don't know if you all have it. It's sitting on your desk. And when you basically look at this CD, what I want you to know is music shares cha-cha, salsa, blues, reggae. It's a combination of his talents. And with that, I'd like to call up Bobby Rodriguez, and he's going to play a tune before we recognize him for all of us. I think it's in honor of Councilman Alatorre, called East LA Blues. And sorry Richard's not here today, but Mr. Bobby Rodriguez.
I was born in East LA, on my corner of Bonnie Beach and Hubbard Streets, right near Calvary Cemetery. I was born in East LA, down on my corner of Bonnie Beach and 4133 Hubbard Street. Our Lady of Lourdes Elementary. I only tell you about my East LA, 'cause my East LA, it's like no other. And let me tell you a little bit about East LA. Whittier Boulevard, Eastern Avenue, Atlantic Avenue. When I was growing up, there were hardly any Latinos east of Atlantic Avenue. Well, now that's changed, because when you're an upward mobile Latino nowadays, the first thing you want to do is move to Montebello. And that's where my family did in 1963. And if that's not enough, you keep moving east to Whittier, Rowland Heights, Diamond Bar. And that's where the Latinos are now, except they never left East LA. They've just added to East LA. Let me tell you, I went down to Rosarita with my pretty senorita. We had a few too many margaritas and we ran into the policia. Get me back to East LA. That's where I feel comfortable. East LA College, Cal State LA, that's me. I only tell you about my East LA because that's where this Latino learned how to play in East LA. Muchas gracias.
You know, Mr. President, I thought it'd be different to bring a Latino jazz player for Cinco de Mayo as kind of a symbol of what can happen in Los Angeles. A lot of us have images of what Los Angeles is about, but really Los Angeles is a very inclusive city and has opportunities for many. And I think that Bobby is showing that. He serves as a role model. And I just want to congratulate Bobby Rodriguez on his new CD. And on behalf of the city of Los Angeles, not only myself, but Councilman Alatorre, thank him for being an educator and a role model to our youth. Again, thank you, Bobby. And with Bobby is not only the senorita he went to Rosaria with, but also his mother who moved to Montebello. But you might want to say a few words.
Thank you very much, Mike. First of all, it's my pleasure to be here. It's quite an honor. When I was a little boy growing up in East Los Angeles, I had one dream, and that dream was to play the trumpet. This, by the way, is a trumpet. It's a pocket trumpet. I didn't want to bring my big trumpet because the gig just didn't pay enough. Also accompanying me today is Mr. Mark Gutierrez, graduate of Cal State, Los Angeles. Thank you, Mark. I had one dream, and the dream has never left me, and that is to make a difference with my music. I always felt that if I could perform in the right environments, maybe I could affect a change. Not only am I performing now, but I'm also teaching to the young children in our community. I'm very, very honored by being able to go around to different grammar schools, high schools, colleges. Hundreds of thousands of children I see every year through different groups and organizations that I perform for. And there's one common thread, and that is a focus and a gleam in their eye when they hear music. Because music, let's never forget, is a direct line into the soul. It doesn't go through your mind, it goes right to your feelings. And music is something we can always give as a gift and make sure our children have the gift of music. It's not extra, it's a basic necessity of life. And I thank you very much for the time. Gracias.
Let me, just very quickly, Mr. President, members, Bobby Rodriguez to me is an institution in our community, an extremely talented musician, extremely talented, and a real true professional. And there's never been an occasion wherever there has been a need for a band or an orchestra that Bobby Rodriguez has not been available himself. Some great festivals that he participates in, and to me, if we had just more Bobby Rodriguez's in the world that are true artists, I mean, this world would be a much better world, and I congratulate you, Bobby. Give me a second.
And Bobby, thank you. And again, Mr. President, members,
Mrs. Walters.
Okay.
Thank you. I wanted to say to Mr. Rodriguez very publicly, thanks for his continued participation in the Central Avenue Jazz Festival. We enjoy you every time that you're there. I love your music, and I hope we'll see you again this summer. We always have many, many compliments on the music, and the youngsters just love it, and so do the oldsters.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Hernandez?
Mr. President, I just want to say that this year, this Cinco de Mayo, let's understand all the opportunities that exist in Los Angeles as an inclusive city, and there is no stereotypes. We can be a little bit of everything. Again, thank you very much for allowing me to celebrate today. And Councilman Alatorre asked me, did we have tamales or menudo in the back? No, we don't. We have pan dulce.
Okay. Okay, happy Cinco de Mayo. Don't let Richard steal that record from you, Mike. Okay, the next item.
Item number 5 on the regular agenda, item notice for public hearing.
All right, we do have some people who want to be heard on item number 5. I hope they don't all want to speak. We'll call on Ben Resnick first. Ben Resnick.
Okay, thank you, John.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the council. My name is Ben Resnick with Jeffrey Mangles, Butler, and Marlboro, 2121 Avenue of the Stars. I'm here this morning representing the Patel family, owners of the property at the corner of Franklin and Highland. What you see here being held, I know the other side may not be able to see, is a rendering of a proposed 50-room hotel that is being proposed for this intersection. First, I would like to indicate we had asked for a continuance, and that is before you, and if that is not granted, we'd like to certainly go forward and present to you the factual basis of our case. Basically, we had met with community members. There is opposition, strong opposition. You'll see her today from the adjoining church next door to us. And the church had attempted to buy the property from Unical. This site was a gas station for 50 years, and it's now being proposed for hotel use right on Highland, right across the street from Trizac Con, directly. And surrounding it are uses of other hotels. We feel it's an appropriate use. We feel it's consistent with Hollywood redevelopment. What else are you going to put there? But what you did allow is, of course, by right, apartments. The property is zoned R4 with a Q condition that will allow apartments by right. In your wisdom, the City Council zoned it for residential use, and the hotel is a permitted use in that zone by conditional use. So we're a little surprised that the city would entertain denying a 50-room hotel in the middle of Hollywood redevelopment and insist that apartments go in there, because that's the alternative permitted use by right. And with that, we ask for your denial of the appeal, and I'd like Mr. Patel to have a couple of minutes to present his explanation as to why he bought the site.
Good morning. My name is Barrett Patel, and I'm a small minority business owner in the hotel business. We would like to build a hotel on the property that we own. The property was a commercial site and was a gas station for a number of years, and then used recently as a commercial parking lot. We feel that the property is best suited for a hotel because of Hollywood and everything that's going on currently and that's planned for the future. There is going to be a great need for hotels in that area, and there's already hotels proposed that will be built soon. I want to clarify, this is not a motel. This is a high-end hotel which is affiliated with Hyatt reservation systems. It's marketed worldwide through the Hyatt directory, so it's not a local motel. The hotel is going to add to beautification of Hollywood. The hotel is going to generate over $140,000 in TOT tax that we estimated. It's also going to add to the increasing the tax base. The city is spending millions of dollars to promote the area, and this hotel will meet the needs of the business people who want to stay in that area. The city plan is envisioned that that Highland Avenue, which is a state commercial highway, would be a logical place to have a hotel. When they downsized the commercial properties to R4, they intended that and would envision that hotel use would be allowed on those that zoning. Some of the reasons why the hotel should not be built, which have come to our attention from homeowners and other groups, is that it's a motel. It's going to generate prostitution, contribute to crime, increase traffic, cause car accidents. It's a dangerous location. It will not financially work, and it's going to go out of business. That can't be built. It's a poor location, and basically, we don't want it in our neighborhood. My responses to those concerns are, this is a property that's a higher-end hotel. We would not rent rooms on an hourly basis, which is short time, basically. We don't cater to criminal elements. Traffic is going to be an ongoing concern. Let's face it, traffic is here. You know, according to estimates, if you take Chicago and triple the population, that's what the population of Southern California is going to be. Traffic is here. Trizac Con project, which is going across the street from us, is going to generate thousands of car trips, and they have a mitigation program that they're going to be implementing to hopefully decrease the traffic that's going to be generated. According to the major hotel companies, they all believe that this is a great location for a hotel, and that a hotel would be the best use on that site. The property has visibility to oncoming traffic, and with the additional lane that's going to be built, it's going to further enhance the egress and ingress onto the site. If the hotel does not make it financially, then let me fail, and let me be responsible for my actions if I fail. I don't think that someone should imply because I'm going to fail that I shouldn't do something. The hotel can be built on the site. It meets all the city building code requirements, and it is feasible. The church wants to buy the property, and we've always had opposition from them. They had the opportunity to buy it, and unfortunately, for some reason, they didn't end up, and we did. In conclusion, this is a good hotel site. It does work financially, and I hope that the members of the City Council have the vision to allow the hotel use and vote accordingly. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, we're the only two speakers on our side, so just in conclusion, I want to say that in response to the church's concerns about parking next door, my client offered the other day 30 parking spaces to be built for the church's benefit, and it was presented to them as an offer of goodwill gesture at no cost in perpetuity. They would have 30 parking spaces available forever, free. They said no, and they don't want to see anything built there, and we understand their frustration, but we're going to build something there, and we hope that that something, rather than an apartment building, is going to be a hotel, which will better serve that intersection and that area of Hollywood. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Mel Swift, and then Mr. Casey Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Los Angeles City Council, good morning. I'm here representing the Hollywood United Methodist Church. I'm a trustee of that church at the present time. I grew up in Hollywood. I've been a member of this church since 1936. We request that you affirm the 3-0 unanimous vote of your Planning and Land Use Management Committee granting our appeal and preventing the building of this oversized 50-room hotel on a too small 19,000 plus or minus square foot lot next to our church. It is not across from Trizic Hahn. Trizic Hahn is at least 2 long blocks farther south at the intersection of Highland and Hollywood Boulevard. Let me give you 3 quick reasons for granting our appeal and preventing the building. Number 1, it's too large a project on too small a lot. It's being built at the 3rd most dangerous intersection in the city of Los Angeles in terms of traffic accidents. It is being sought to be built at one of the 5 most heavily trafficked intersections in the city of Los Angeles, and there is an impossible ingress and egress situation, which is the reason that the gas stations finally left almost 10 years ago. The other hotels on that side of the street have not been economically viable, and the DoubleTree recently let go its manager. Second reason, you good folks can't ride one horse in opposite directions at the same time. When you granted the Trizic Hahn project at the intersection of Highland and Hollywood, you made it as a condition that there would be an 18-foot cut off the west side of Highland Avenue where this project is sought to be situated, which Trizic Hahn would pay for in whole or in part. When you take that 18-foot off the present lot, they have a sustainable lot, a gross lot, of less than 15,000 square feet. Reason number 3. Our church has served the city of Los Angeles and particularly the community of Hollywood for 90 years, 70 years at this corner. You have designated our church an historic cultural monument. We do not think that we deserve to be blighted. We wish to continue to be able to serve the Hollywood community. This would certainly interfere with that. Mr. Resnick commented on a 30 free parking offer the other day. What he didn't say were the conditions that were attached to the offer, all of which were unacceptable, including our agreeing to this 50-unit hotel, including allowing another building level for the parking and so forth. We ask that you allow the appeal of the Hollywood United Methodist Church, thus affirming the vote of your committee on planning and land use management, and that you deny the application for this 50-room hotel. Thank you.
Okay. Reverend Hanson is the one I meant to call.
Ladies and gentlemen of the LA City Council, thank you for hearing our appeal, our concern. I'm Edward Hanson. I'm pastor at Hollywood United Methodist Church, and I want to support our church's position, asking that you not grant the request of these folks who are wishing to build a hotel on that site. There are several concerns that you've heard. I want to add to that. Hollywood United Methodist Church hosts in its property the Oaks Elementary School. That school has 140 elementary-age children attending classes there every day, representing 120 children from local families who are living in the Hollywood region. The playground for the Oaks School is immediately adjacent to where this hotel construction project would go, and where persons who are tenants at that hotel might have a view onto the playground where the elementary school children are playing. We think that's a safety concern for them. The Hollywood Heights Association, representing 500 homeowners and apartment owners, voted to support the position of our church. And they also had informed the buyer, Patel, before he purchased the property, telling them about the 18-foot dedication, so he knew about that prior to the purchase, according to the Hollywood Heights Association people. There is no shortage of commercial land in Hollywood. There are other sites for building a hotel. It should not be in a residentially zoned area. Fran Offenhauser, a local property owner who has worked hard with the local apartment managers to clean up this area. People who have significant investment and deal constantly with vice and other problems in the small hotels are opposed to this project. It's fine to start out with good intentions. We never know what can happen if things don't work out and what we might be stuck with. We urge you not to allow this project to go forward. I'd like to invite those who are here in support of our position to stand at this time. They've come from their work, from their other concerns, and they have come to be with us to support our expression to you that you not support a project on this site. Thank you very much.
These cards part of the file, and we'll close the public hearing. Mr. Burnson? Mr. Burnson?
Yes, Mr. President, members of the council, this Planning and Land Use Management Committee reviewed this case. We found that the traffic situation there, particularly with the improvements that had to be made as part of the Trizicon project, deemed it to be an improper location for a hotel. For those of you that are not familiar, this particular corner is probably one of the busiest in the Los Angeles area, and currently is a right turn lane going west off of southbound Highland Avenue that backs traffic up just about any hour of the day, and you can imagine what it's like at certain times of the day, and also when the Hollywood Bowl and other activities are in progress. So I would like to amend the report today to make the findings that show that the committee felt that the traffic situation was just not conducive to bringing additional traffic that a hotel would generate into this particular area. And so I would so move that as an amendment, and you want to second that? Very good. Okay, basically, we appreciate the fact that there are other commercial hotels in the area, but I can tell you that we have traffic problems on Highland Boulevard with all of them as far as entry and exit is concerned, and this will only exacerbate the problem of traffic congestion. So I would urge an aye vote on the committee report as amended by the findings.
Sikowski?
wanted to add, particularly on the finding level, that the testimony that was provided at the Planning Committee and earlier led us to conclude that we could not make the findings, which would say, for instance, that the location is proper in relation to the uses of the regular community, and that is not the case. We believe it would be materially detrimental to the surrounding environment, and that all of the testimony provided that information. As is indicated, this is an excessively busy intersection. It's one on Highland, for instance, that many times during the year have cones put on it to help direct traffic. It's so intense in one direction or the other. And to put this use on almost a substandard lot, a very, very small lot, at the intensity that is being requested is not only not compatible, it's really, and nor desirable, it's really not even plausible. I think there are other legitimate uses for the site. This is not a by right development. This is a development or a request for a special privilege, and we cannot make the findings to grant that. And I think that the information submitted in the file strongly supports the evidence for making the findings to deny the appeal by the applicant and grant the appeal on the part of the Methodist Church, the surrounding neighbors, and other businesses in the area.
Thank you. Let me point out that this is in my district. I think the hotel, the plot, it looks like a very fine hotel, but it's just not in the right location. And I would ask that we uphold the appeal. So is there any further discussion? Prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
That is, the findings included, yes. Okay, that appeal has been granted, the permit has been denied. I want to thank you for coming today. Okay, the next item?
Did you wish to continue number 2 on the desk?
Yes.
Items numbers 7 through 16. Items for which public hearings have been held.
7 through 16, we have a request by Mr. Fuhrer to hold 8 on the desk, which we will do, and 8? Yeah, well, we're holding it on the desk, so it's same as special. Any other specials? 7 and 10. Any others? If not, what do we have left? 9, 11, 12, 15, and 16. Prepare the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Those are approved. Next item.
Items numbers 17 through 23. Items for which public hearings have not been held. Number 23 has already been acted on, so it's 17 through 22.
Okay, 17 through 22. Is there anybody in the chamber who wants to be heard on any of those items? 17 through 22. Have no cards, seeing none, the public hearing is closed. Are there any specials by council members? 18, 19, and 20. Any others? Any others? If not, prepare the roll on 17, 22, 21 is, Mr. Fuhrer wants us to call that special. Tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Those are approved. Next item.
Number 27.
Any discussion on item 27?
Yeah. There is an amended motion on number 27, Hernandez Ferraro.
Yeah, no, 27 is not a closed session. 24 and 26 is closed session. Mr. Hernandez, you want to explain your amendment on 27?
Mr. President, it's basically a settlement agreement or an agreement that's reached by the Housing Department and Building Safety in regards to this assessment, and I just ask that we vote for it.
Okay. All right. We have 27 as amended. Any discussion? If not, prepare the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 12 eyes.
That is approved. Next item.
Mr. President, some of the commissioners from CRA have requested if it was possible for us to deal with item number 2 in
Yeah,
regard to...
we're going to take that up. We got a couple other ones, and then we're going to take that up. Okay. The next-
Items number 28 and 29. On number 28, we have substitute motion, Holden, Miskowski.
Okay, we have Judy Rivka, you want to be heard? Take the center microphone.
Hi, I hope everybody's listening to me because I might lose my job for being here right now. Stalker Oil has been drilling 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in our community. I have tried for over 2 years to get Stalker Oil's variances stopped. Could you imagine your community having an oil well drilling? It sounds intense. There's banging, clanging, there's worrying sounds. Please listen to me. Please listen. I might lose my job for being here. Stalker Oil is drilling up to 70 decibels every night, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They keep getting variances. Our motion in our community is to limit their drilling from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. It's the only way that we're going to be able to get our sleep back. Our neighborhood is being ruined by this excessive noise. We've been holding meetings in our neighborhood only recently, within the last 6 months to a year. But this has gone over maybe 2 or 3 years of trying to send notes to the council member, trying to get the police department to show up when the drilling is going on, talking to the zoning commission. They have recently had the zoning commission come out and check the ambient levels at midnight in our neighborhood. The ambient tone levels in our neighborhood is 48 decibels. Stalker Oil has been allowed to drill up to 70 decibels whenever they want to, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you could imagine that you're trying to sleep and there's 70 decibels going on a block away, 2 blocks away from your house, and you can hear it with your doors shut, on the backside of your house. It's such an intense noise level. And the zoning commission knows that the ambient level should be 48, and the only thing that's preventing us from getting Stalker Oil to limit their drilling is to get this motion passed, to limit their drilling operations between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. I'd appreciate some sort of response on this, because I'm the only one here, because my neighbors, I've called close to 40 people. I only found out yesterday afternoon that we were having the motion brought before the board, and all of my neighbors wanted to be here, literally. My neighbors really wanted to be here.
I think we got your point. Thank you. All right.
This has gone on for over 2 years.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Mr. Burnson?
Yes, members of the council, I seconded this motion by Mr. Holden because Mr. Holden was very concerned about the disturbance in his community. And let me just ask, I think that this would fall under a deemed to be approved conditional use permit. And as such, we can ask the zoning, I'm going to ask that we pass this, but I'm going to ask the zoning administrator to review the conditions and add any conditions that may be necessary to ensure what Mr. Holden wants to occur here. So I'm going to make a request, and we're going to ask Bob Genovese to meet with Mr. Holden, and perhaps they can work out some conditions they can impose upon this so it won't be a disturbance in the community. I don't think, then of course, if that doesn't happen, we have revocation proceedings that we can go into, so I think they'll get the message. At any rate, let's approve this now. I think it just gives direction to where we want to go on this.
All right. Mr. Holden, did you want to be heard?
Just briefly, the time we authorized for the 24-hour drilling has come and gone. The start date was March 23rd, 1998. As we speak today, there is no authorization granted to the oil company for them to continue to drill. So what we're saying in the motion, and Mr. Burnson has already simply specified the terms and conditions, is that if you grant additional authorization, then we should impose some conditions. So with that, Mr. President, I move that we adopt the motion.
Okay. We have item 28 and 29. No one wanted to be heard on 29. Hadn't been called. So prepare the roll on those 2 items. Tabulate the vote.
11 eyes.
Those are approved. Forthwith on 28. Thank you for coming today. Okay. Now, members, we're going to go on to item number 2, which is a joint meeting with the... Am I supposed to have an agenda or a script? Where is it? Oh. Could we have some attention now? First of all, this is a joint session of the City Council and the Board of Commissioners of the Community Redevelopment Agency of the City of Los Angeles to consider the approval and adoption of the proposed Westlake Recovery Redevelopment Plan for the Westlake Recovery Redevelopment Project. How many times do we have to say redevelopment? I don't know. But anyway, the redevelopment plan is proposed to be approved and adopted pursuant to the community redevelopment laws of the state of California. Will the clerk please call the roll of the members of the City Council and the Community Redevelopment Agency?
Alatorre, Bernson, Chick, Fuhrer, Galanter, Goldberg, Hernandez, Holden, Miskowski, Ridley Thomas, Fornish, Wax, Walters, Ferraro, 11 members present and a quorum for the council. Moore, Chavez, Essel, Richmond, Robert, Roseman, and Fierga. We have 5 members present and a quorum.
Okay. Okay, the community redevelopment laws require that we follow certain procedures in the conduct of today's joint public hearing. Persons making statements and comments are asked to direct them through me. All persons desiring to speak will be given the opportunity to do so, subject to a time limit of 2 minutes per person. And we hope that they would not repeat what has been previously said. The order of procedure for today's hearing will be as follows. Agency staff will present a brief report of the history and background leading up to the proposed Westlake Recovery Redevelopment Plan. Agency staff will also present a brief summary of the agency's report to the City Council on the proposed redevelopment plan. Next, we will receive any written statements submitted by any persons or organizations for this hearing. We will then receive oral comments from the audience. Please remember to fill out and submit speaker cards if you wish to speak. After questions, comments, and objections have been responded to as needed, the Community Redevelopment Agency and the City Council will then consider action on the matter before them. We will now hear comments from those present in opposition to the proposed Westlake Recovery Plan. Please begin your arguments by giving your name, address, and organization, if any,
Mr. President.
you represent.
Mr. President, I think you might have skipped something. I've got to get this statement into the record. It'll just take a second.
Well, go ahead. I'm just doing what you... Go ahead. Mr. Malloy?
Yes, good morning, Mr. President, and members of the council, Madam Chair, members of the commission. My name is John Malloy, and I'm the administrator of the Community Redevelopment Agency for the City of Los Angeles. The action before you today is a joint public hearing required by law prior to your consideration of the proposed redevelopment plan for the 633-acre Westlake Recovery Redevelopment Project. The Westlake community was one of approximately 20 sub-areas within the City of Los Angeles which experienced damage during the civil disturbances in 1992, and the council directed the agency to survey the conditions in this area. On April 2nd of '93, the council further directed the agency to work with the Community Advisory Committee to define appropriate strategies for revitalization and recovery and to address the deterioration found in the Westlake area. The 30-member Westlake Community Advisory Council was appointed by Councilman Mike Hernandez in September of '93. They held 31 meetings over a 20-month period and developed appropriate strategies for revitalization in the area. Upon determination by the CAC that the creation of a redevelopment plan was necessary to address area conditions, a community-elected 25-member project area committee was elected in August of '95 to advise and plan preparation. The PAC conducted an additional 39 meetings through which they and the community provided valuable input on features contained in the redevelopment plan and the implementation program. All CAC and PAC meetings were posted, noticed, and open to the public. Area conditions found through the documentation process are 73% of all office and commercial retail buildings require repair ranging from moderate repair to conditions of dilapidation. 80% of all residential buildings require repair ranging from moderate rehab to repair from dilapidated conditions. There are 17.55 acres of vacant land within the project area boundaries. 80 potentially contaminated sites exist according to toxic databases. 21% of all non-residential, non-public use buildings exhibit vacancy rates of 20% or more. 22% of the area is in public or semi-public use, 41% is residential, 31% office and commercial. The proposed implementation tools to be used to address conditions in the area are, we will put in place a commercial development program, including facade improvements and rehabilitation for existing commercial and retail office. We'll put in place a program to address existing impediments to development, such as toxic substance contamination. The Economic Development Program will provide strategies for marketing of local business goods and services and centers for entrepreneurial training and development. The Housing Program will rehabilitate existing housing and provide new affordable housing for community residents. An outside fiscal consultant has evaluated the potential resources, including tax increments, available to fund implementation, and has concluded that the project is financially feasible. All of the documentation supporting the adoption of the proposed redevelopment plan, including the EIR, is contained in the report to council, which was previously sent to you. The redevelopment plan proposed sets forth the goals and objectives of the community, as well as specific checks and balances on many of the redevelopment tools. This plan does allow for the use of eminent domain in specific cases where the intended use of the site has been identified by the agency or where necessary to eliminate public nuisances, hazards, or other manifestations of blight. I will add, however, that the ordinance that accompanies the plan specifies that the City Council must approve that use of eminent domain. The involvement of the Westlake community has been greatly appreciated. A letter of support from the Project Area Committee is contained in the binder. The letter outlines support for the use of redevelopment and states the community's concerns for carrying out redevelopment in Westlake. The agency appreciates the assistance of the First Council District Office and their staff, the city's Department of Planning, and agency staff throughout the plan preparation, and this concludes my remarks, Mr. President.
Okay, at this time, are there any questions by the members of the City Council or the agency? Any members of the City Council? All right. All right, Mr. Holden?
Mr. President, as the project area is being described and the businesses included within the project area, I think I heard you say something about residential properties being included in project areas. What's your plan to do with those residential properties?
To the extent we can, within financial feasibility, we'll make rehabilitation loans and in some cases potentially deferred loans or special interest rate loans to people who want to renovate those properties. There may be the possibility of some infill new residential construction on some of the vacant properties within the project area.
Okay, what about the commercial?
The commercial, we do envision a program of commercial rehabilitation with funds available for people who want to fix up their commercial properties. In addition to that, there are several sites within the project area that are identified for new commercial development.
What's the source of revenue for the program?
After several years, there will be significant tax increment revenues which will materialize within this project area according to the feasibility studies that we have done. As with our other project areas, we will have to attempt to get some development going using federal resources or state resources.
I mean, not other project area, I'm talking about this project area.
In this project area.
You going to get federal funding?
We will apply for federal funding.
What's the likelihood in the competitive market?
We've been fairly successful over time to bring federal resources into
for refurbishing the homes, renovating the businesses, even infilling new homes, etc.
Correct.
I see. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Hernandez?
Mr. President, members of the council, and I want to kind of rise more to make a statement on behalf of this redevelopment area. It should not be any surprise to Mr. Holden, but initially there was this redevelopment area included his district and my district, and we split into two different areas. And I think that split allowed for more local participation in the decision-making process and more focus on each redevelopment area. What I want to share with many of you is a lot of the housing projects that have already been built in that particular community have come with the assistance of CRA and the Bunker Hill Housing Trust Fund. And many of the model projects that we talk about in terms of Casa Loma, Las Posadas, single-parent housing, Las Brisas, there's no question in my mind that CRA has been playing a role in regards to housing. And this has been an area where there's been a focus on housing simply because of the density. When we talk about the reality of having the busiest fire station in the nation in terms of Fire Station 11. And all of you are familiar with the area. If you look at MacArthur Park, it's kind of part of one of the centers of this particular community. But the tremendous population living there, working class people, underemployed, trying to get the kinds of wages that basically allow for an improvement of the quality of life. The land value has been tremendously impacted because of the CRA area in the downtown center. The Civic Center, the downtown CRA area, has basically created a skyline that has impacted the properties directly across from that skyline west to the freeway. The reality is the school district has opened 2 new recent elementary schools, is contemplating a 3rd one at the Old Otis Parson area. And the reality also is that we have the potential for a lot of economic development projects already in the works. The coordination of these activities and the community participation of activities and the potential impetus to make things actually happen, I think has been waiting for this redevelopment area to be established. And I wanted to say that because we did make sure, anticipating Mr. Bernson's questions that I think have been asked in the past, and rightfully so, that there would be a cap of 15% administrative cost for CRA. And we also wanted to ensure the reality that this council member, this council office might not be here when a lot of this work happens because of term limits and the fact that I'll be out of office in 2 years. And so the Community Participation Board is extremely important. The fact that this council as a whole will have to make decisions on eminent domain issues is extremely important. This is also the area where we've been spending a lot of focus on using our nuisance abatement teams, our slumlord task force. When we talk about the old Hotel California, it took 3 fires after the building was closed down for us to basically have to go in and demolish it. And there's a lot of tremendous amount of attention and social service community-based organizations doing work. So again, this is just another tool that I think is going to help a tremendous community grow right in the heart of the city. And I think the private sector is seeing that potential. When we talk about the Hearst Corporation and their potential $25 million investment in the Park Plaza Hotel, when we talk about a potential Kmart and a Rite Aid that's going in on 6th and Chateau Place, and when we talk about an intermodal transportation facility above the MacArthur Park subway system. So again, I've been waiting for this process to be completed, and we wanted to make sure the community had input in this process, and I'm urging us to support it unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Hernandez. The chair recognizes Councilman Holden.
I'd just like to ask Mr. Malloy one question. Mr. Malloy, you may not have the answer right now, but is it at all possible that you would have to become necessary to invoke eminent domain for displacing some of the residential properties?
Let me provide 2 elements to that answer. The first is that we have absolutely no plans to do that, and there are no projects
I just want Mr. Wax to listen to the question and answer.
There are no projects currently proposed which would require that. The plan does allow for the possibility of that to occur.
The plan does what?
The plan does allow for the possibility of that to occur.
Provided that it come first to the, case by case has to come to the council for
Correct.
approval. We added that in.
Correct.
Okay. All right, but it's a likelihood, is that correct?
It's a possibility.
And if the council denies it, then that pretty much interrupts, stop the project. It could stop
That's correct.
It could stop the project. So anyway, I just want to get that on the table. Thank you very much.
Ms. Goldberg, did you want to be heard now?
Well, I think the other parts of this does involve, if you look on D10, letter M, in addition to which, if there is any housing displacement, that first of all, the council must be satisfied that permanent housing facilities will be available within 3 years from the time occupants would be displaced, and that pending the development of the facilities, they'll be available to the displaced adequate temporary housing facilities at rents comparable to those in the community at the time of their displacement. That's a rather important feature, because sometimes when you want to build a project which the same tenants are in, if you don't have a place where those tenants can live in the interim, those tenants end up sometimes as much as homeless, and at other times they simply disappear. So I think that's a critical feature, and I was very happy to see that in it, and I think it should be a model for any future agreements or even re-ups of existing agreements. The other thing is that the feature that each and every project that might use eminent domain regarding residents would have to come to the council, I think, is an important safeguard. I know that you did that in Adelante and in the CD14. I think, again, it's a kind of model that reassures people that this is going to get extraordinary scrutiny and not cursory scrutiny, and that it will be very limited in scope if it happens at all. So with those safeguards in, I am happy to support this project.
Ron, hold on a second. Mr. Wax?
I made my clarifying point.
Mr. Ridley Thomas?
Mr. President, members of the council, I think Mr. Hernandez has indicated it's been approximately 7 years that he has, and the community that he represents, have worked on the issue of the adoption of this redevelopment project area. We all know how important this tool can be to the revitalization, indeed the redevelopment of parts of the city that qualify. It's clear to me this is one such example. It is not particularly useful from my point of view to insert the issue of residential eminent domain where it doesn't apply, particularly when it is a matter that causes constituents throughout the city to be very concerned about, and indeed why they are resistant to the issue of redevelopment. The power of eminent domain is no laughing matter. That is why we should be absolutely clear about how it is used, when it is used, and that those who might be affected by it are properly notified. I'm confident that the agency will be scrupulous in that regard, and I don't know that that's even applicable in this instance, Mr. Hernandez, because most of the redevelopment project areas that we've recently adopted precluded residential eminent domain. If that's not the case in this instance, at least it seems to me that care will be taken. And so I don't think we ought to place an issue here that is not applicable. The discussion in council yesterday and the last week is a question of where it was applicable, and we should be absolutely sure that the statements of interest and due process with respect to notification of residents who might be impacted are always informed and in place. That is not a matter that applies here. It did apply to the matter in CD10, and it seems to me that we ought to keep those issues separate and proceed with this project as it's most worthy.
Okay, that's all. Now we have, will the city clerk proceed to read into the records the name and addresses of persons or organizations submitted written statements concerning the proposed plan?
Statement regarding the proposed plan. Law Office Christopher Sutton for owners Janet R. Block and Alan P. Block at 937 South Alvarado Street, Los Angeles. For Marshall Salazar from 715 South Whitmer Street, Los Angeles. From Eugene Barr, P.O. Box 85039, Los Angeles. And from Christian Fier at 436 South Las Palmas Avenue, Los Angeles.
Okay. The proposed redevelopment plan and the report to the council will be made part of the record, along with the staff presentation and any other documents that we have received. We will now hear comments from those present in opposition to the proposed Westlake Recovery Redevelopment Plan. Please begin your comments by giving your name and address and organization, if any, you represent and whether you own or rent property in the project area. Please limit your remarks to 2 minutes. We have Janet Block, Ron Ely, and Alice Chow. Janet Block.
Okay.
Proceed.
Yes. Yes.
Give your name and address and organization, if any.
My name is Janet Block, and a mailing address is 9007 Norma Place, West Hollywood, 90069. And my husband and I are the owners of the commercial property located at 937 South Alvarado Street. It is located near the intersection.
Can we have it quiet over here, please?
Near the intersection of Alvarado and Olympic, which is on the southern border of the proposed project area. It's a 10,000 square foot commercial building with 10 suites on 14,000 square feet of land and 21 car parking. I am here to oppose the inclusion of our property in the proposed redevelopment plan. We have been owners of record of the property since April of 1998. The building was built in 1986. It is 13 years old. It is in very good condition, and it is well maintained. We have been very responsible and diligent owners. When we purchased the property, it was virtually vacant, and it is very occupied at the time with a cross-section of businesses that reflect services needed in the community that include law offices, medical offices, insurance services, tax services, medical supply, travel agencies, bail bonds, hair salon, nail salon, etc., that are both women-owned and minority-owned businesses. We are requesting that you exclude our property from the proposed redevelopment plan. Again, we are on the very border of the map, as well as we are a very nice and well-maintained building. Okay.
Ron Ely. And then Ellen Chow.
Hello. I just wanted to, my name is Ron Ely, as you said. I own an apartment building approximately in 9th and Hoover within the redevelopment area, proposed redevelopment area. I don't think it's any secret that between about 1990 and 6 months ago, there was most apartment owners in that area, I am confident, were operating at a loss or near loss. To support that, I've surveyed commercial real estate brokers who operate in the area, and I've determined that approximately 80 to 90%, if not more, of the properties in that area have been sold more than once in the past since the real estate downturn in the late 80s, early 90s. And some of them more than that, maybe up to 5 times. And this is indicative of business failure. It's either been because of foreclosure, for financial instability, or business failure. And only in the past 5 or 6 months have conditions improved to where, I know in my case, it started to look, there's a little light where it might be a positive operation instead of negative. The city has recently passed the Housing Department Residential Mandatory Inspection Program, which is in operation right now, which mandates maintenance, renovation, interior, exterior on this type of building. And the main disagreement that I have with what I've read on this CRA project is the mandatory taking of property, and I don't even know what conditions would be where that would be imposed, but it looks like to me that would be a potential violation of private property ownership rights. I think that basically what I oppose is the force aspect of the thing rather than encouragement. I may need more information on this, but it looks like to me, it looks like there could be a situation where somebody has put a lot of money in a property, and then someone else determines that it's not proper.
Thank you. Ellen Chow?
My name is Ellen Chow, and I own a property in Los Angeles. 10 years ago, I planned for my retirement in 1999, and I purchased a property, rental property in Los Angeles, 20 units. And ever since that, we keep on putting more money into the repair. And recently, in the month of November, we have inspector coming and want us to repair a lot of work, which is fine. They give us only 30 days, and it was Christmas time. You cannot find anybody, and I couldn't even find inspector to postpone. And then they write us up, but we finally got everything done by January 28. He signed us off. REAP were not notified. They sent letters to all my apartments, telling them that they can withhold my rent, withhold the rent to me. And so we called the REAP agent back, called the inspector number 1 back, hey, we finished in January 28, why you didn't pass it on to REAP? So finally, we received a letter, REAP sent a letter to my tenant, tell them to pay rent to me. So everything is fine, we thought. And then the third inspector came along, and everything is painted, and he scraped the paint. He said, we discovered some lead in your building. So what do you want me to do after spending so much money to repair my building? Okay, now, so my thing is a CRA project. I don't know about anything, what's going on in Los Angeles, okay? And my concern is redevelopment is fine for a city. At least you should give us plenty of time, the landlord plenty of time to do the project. When you have 20 units, there's a lot of work to be done in 30 days. You cannot accomplish all that. Okay? And number 2, what I'm afraid of is a redevelopment, which is good for the city and would be for my neighborhood area, but then if you city want to annex my land, putting eminent domain, then what do? I spend all my money, all my retirement money, all my savings into the apartment. What do? You know, I would like to find out more information, and I hope this is for the benefit of Los Angeles and for the people of
Thank you, and
Los
I'm
Angeles.
sure that you can get more information from the staff. All right. We will now hear comments from those present in favor of the proposed plan. Again, please identify yourself, give your name, address, and organization, if any, you represent. Whether you own property or rent property within the project area, please limit your comments to 2 minutes, and we've been a little laxed on that. So, Molly Kovali, Lawrence Pierce, Thomas Coyle, Ray Vetnin, and Neela Saga Divan. Are any of those people here? They want to be heard? I called your name, so please come forward. What is your name?
My name's Thomas Coyle. I'm employed by the Los Angeles County Medical Association that owns property at 1925 Wilshire Boulevard.
Okay.
I have been looking forward to this day with great expectation for at least 6 years. I was a member of the CAC and have been a member of the PAC for the entire 7-year period. The last 4 years, we've been anxiously awaiting the completion of the EIR and are just plain glad to see it here for everybody to consider. The area, as several people have already said, faces 80% of the buildings in need of some sort of rehabilitation or just plain being brought up to date with deferred maintenance. We have buildings that have been turned over 5 times in the last 10 years. We have been working with the council office and the city various city departments to try to improve this neighborhood. In the last 10 years, we've seen this neighborhood go from the #1 crime area in the entire city to not being even on the top 10 list. And that was a cooperation effort between city and community. The redevelopment agency would provide a focal point and just plain a area in which we can all work towards completion of our already started progress towards a better community. And we need your help because we've been waiting, but we do need you to adopt the plan so we can move forward.
My name is Lawrence Pierce. We have property at 1512 through 1522 West 7th Street, and I'm here as a member of the PAC area for Westlake. I have been in attendance at the PAC meetings, all of the 39 meetings that we have had in the last 4 years. As a property owner, I have seen what happens in that area. There's a real need for the opportunity for economic improvement. As a matter of fact, the three people that spoke against this project area, really, if you listen to their opposition, they should be in favor of it. And as a property owner, a member of the PAC, I really encourage and request approval of this PAC, of this.
For or against? Okay, thank you.
My name is Molly Quavali. My husband Ragnar and I owned 3 buildings in the proximity of 7th and Coronado, the first one being purchased in 1955 and the last 2 in the mid-70s. We are survivors. We are survivors of the gang warfare. We are survivors of the riots. We have lost 1 building to foreclosure. We have an apartment house, residential. We have a commercial building. We have spent, in combination with friends, actually, we have spent $100,000 in personal money in the last 3 years to support a youth center to try to combat the crime which the neglected and blighted buildings support. The criminals in the area live in these neglected and blighted buildings. We are surrounded by foreclosures. We ask the City Council to stand with us against the criminals and recover this area. Rampart Police spent a year running the youth center in one of our buildings, the Jack LaLanne Youth Center. It can no longer exist because the Jack LaLanne Foundation cannot raise further funding, and the Cavalis cannot provide more than we have provided. But the area is clean. The criminals are gone. I have been in gun battles. I have been beaten up because I was taking photographs of them. The area, Maxine Chavez, when one of our tenants was hobbling down the street with her mouth taped and her hands and feet bound. And Maxine and her secretary stopped thinking this woman was ill. She had been accosted at gunpoint in her office, and she had managed to break out the front door and was hobbling down the street. Right now, we have our territory back. You can walk that street. I ask you to go to the corner of 7th and Coronado. People are conducting business in a normal fashion. Please approve the CRA plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the next.
Good morning. My name is Ray Vaitia. I represent various different organizations in the Westlake area, and I also am a longtime born and raised resident of the Westlake area. And I, for one, hope that the City Council will adopt and approve the redevelopment plan for the Westlake area. It's very important that this area gets all the assistance from the city and also from the community that it can get. There's various different factors, some of it the city's fault and some of it the community's fault, that have caused this place to fall below the basic standard of living that should be acceptable for anybody. And only through progressive thinking and looking towards the future with plans such as this can we hope to get this neighborhood out of the gutter and into, hopefully make it a safe place for people to want to raise their children. Too many of the families I grew up with in this neighborhood have moved out or have left to pursue better neighborhoods when they should hopefully be focusing all their efforts into making their neighborhood a better place to live in. So as a resident of the Westlake as the Westlake area, I hope that the City Council will adopt and CRA will adopt the redevelopment plan for the Westlake area. It's very important to the future of the area. Thank you.
All right, the next.
Mr. President, members of the Council, good morning. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. My name is Neela Sagadevan, and I represent the Los Angeles Medical Center, of which I'm a part as the Chief Operations Officer. We've maintained a conspicuous presence in the community for almost 25 years. And our contributions are significant, and they're threefold. We provide quality medical services to the community. We are an employer of over 100 people from our community and from neighboring areas. And we also are developers of real estate. We own approximately 3 acres of land in the region that is going to be represented by this motion. And that encompasses almost 250,000 square feet of leasable office space. We've invested over $15 million in the past 25 years into these properties, and one would expect us to be in a position where we're recouping at least some of it. I'd like to make it known to you that at least on 2 occasions we've been driven almost to the verge of bankruptcy because of the blighted condition of the community and the area that we live in. We have had great difficulty inviting investors, both local and foreign, with substantial amounts of capital to redevelop the area, who have abruptly turned around and walked away because at first sight what met them was not at all appealing. We find it difficult to continue at this rate. One of our buildings, a 14-story structure that has tremendous historical value, is 50% occupied. We can't even fill these properties up because the quality of people we are trying to invite into the neighborhood look at it and say, no, we don't want any part of it. We strongly urge you and thank you for supporting this action. Thank you.
Okay, we have a John Kavak who wants to be heard, but before, we have a request to continue 18 and 19 1 week. Is there any objections to that? 1 week? Okay, 18 and 19 have been continued. All right.
Yeah. My name is John Kavak, and I own 2 commercial and 1 residential building in the area since early 1980s. I am extremely happy to hear about the proposed recovery project and strongly support it. However, I have several wishes and/or reservations. One, that not only residential properties should be point of focus, as it has been in the past, but also commercial. A real and a lasting improvement development, I think, will be only possible with the inclusion of commercial properties and business activity. The second wish and/or reservation is that not only the so-called glamorous parts of the so-called area be part of the recovery program, but that the whole area, without preferences. When I'm talking about glamorous parts, I mean like Wilshire or Olympic, who have already attracted enough investments, and they've already been considered as glamorous part. But all other streets, secondary streets, should also be included in the recovery project efforts. If we don't do that, then it's going to be the same old story. Certain areas get the attention, and the others continue with their blight. And the third one is that, as the previous speaker said, we have major vacancy problems, and the only way this could be eliminated is by a huge marketing effort. And
And I think it's that kind of an effort should be also supported and led by this Westlake Recovery Redevelopment Project.
All right, thank you.
And I thank you very much.
John Mills, who just brought in a card very late, do you really want to speak?
Yes, I do.
You have the floor.
My name is John Mills. I'm a native of Los Angeles. I have lived in the project area for 15 years. I was a past member of the PAC for that particular area. I represent myself. I also represent tenants from the building. I live in a senior citizens building. Also, I represent a organization called More Advocates for Safe Homes in the city of Los Angeles. I'm on the police advisory board for the Rampart Police Advisory Board for that area, and I can attest to the fact that crime in our area has gone down, pardon me, and we, as a group, the More Advocates for Safe Home, we help to clean up the area. We have a project that we clean up every 90 days, and we did that for 9 years, and in the last 2 years, I'm through. In the last 2 years, we've cut it down to twice a year because the area has improved so very much. And I thank you so much for your time, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mills. Thank you very much. And that closes the public hearing. All right, Mr. Malloy, does the staff wish to respond at this time on the oral comments?
Mr. President, we'll respond in writing to all the comments that were made. I do want to make one observation, and that is there was one person who testified asking for the boundaries to be amended. We would not be in favor of that at this point in time. However, there is a process known as the Certificate of Conformance process, and we will inform that individual that that is available to her if she wants her property to be essentially excluded from the redevelopment activities.
Okay. Okay, since now we will proceed with the joint public hearing, a public meeting, and the agency and the city council will now proceed to consider the actions to adopt the proposed plans. Does the agency wish to take an action at this time?
No, not at this time, John.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. There are 2 written objections that were received that will require formal written responses, and so we are advising that the matter be put over for formal action until next week. So the agency would not be taking its action.
You mean we're going to have this again next week?
It will be only to hear the responses to the objections and to take the vote on the resolutions and the ordinance.
Okay, then we are adjourn this meeting?
Continued until next week.
Continue it until next week.
Until May 12th.
I'm sure everybody's going to be excited about this meeting being continued until next week.
There would be no more further testimony necessary.
There'll be no further testimony, even if people come in with cards. Mr. Hernandez, you did hear that, no more testimony, and we're just going to take an opportunity to take action.
Mr. President, I heard that, and I appreciate the comments. This area has been no different than any other one. I just want to point that out, so.
I thought because you represented it was a better area, Mike.
But we're working on that, Mr. President.
Okay, then, thank you very much, and this joint meeting will be continued for 1 week until next Wednesday. Thank you very much for being here. Now the council will proceed with its regular agenda. Okay, Conrad.
Item number 3, Councilmember Chick calls special.
Mrs. Chick, did you get your amendment on 3, or you still want to continue?
I think we still need to.
Okay.
It'll just be another few minutes, I'm sorry.
Okay, the next item.
Item number 7 called special by Councilmember
Ms. Goldberg.
If we could reconsider item 29 in order to continue it until Friday. This is the firefighter one, and they wanted to get it straightened out, but we won't have time today. And it passed inadvertently because I was asleep at the switch.
Ms. Goldberg moved reconsideration of 29. There's no objections. And then she makes a motion to continue one until Friday?
Till Friday.
Till Friday.
Thank you
There's no
very
objection. 29. 29 will be continued until Friday. Okay. The next item.
Item number 7 called special, Councilmember Goldberg.
Ms. Goldberg, you called 7.
I did. Just too much on this desk. Hold on a second, I can't find my agenda.
Proposition K.
Yeah. I had a couple of questions about number 7. The first one is on page 8 of the agenda. It says, instruct the CAO to conduct a competitive process for funds designated in Prop K for maintenance and report to council with recommended allocations. I want to know, does that mean that we've made a decision that there will be, maintenance will not be done by city workers?
No, Victoria Carrion, Chief Legislative Analyst's Office. That is just to determine the allocation of the funding. We anticipate that it will be done by Recreation and Park workers.
I see. Okay, well, it wasn't so clear from that. It says competition for maintenance. I thought, okay, thank you. The other question I had goes to the mitigated negative declaration on San Pedro High School sports field improvements. Does that mitigated negative dec include, have they looked at any toxics possible issues in that discussion?
They're still doing the negative declaration right now. Actually,
Okay.
this is, what you're looking at here is what will be scheduled on council for June 9th, when they will actually be completed with
Okay,
it.
so
and
we'll
ready to
know all
adopt
of
it.
that.
Right, so we'll know that at that time.
And the same question would be answered the same way for C and for El Centro del Pueblo project?
That's correct.
Okay. Those were the only questions I had. Thank you very much.
Mrs. Walters?
Thank you, Mr. President. Council members, most of item 8 is fine, except for the allocation for the Children's Museum. If you look at this...
It's item number 7.
Sorry. I had it for 8. That's a preview, right. That's a preview.
That's sort of a prelim.
Count on it.
Mr. Hernandez?
Mr. President, just to keep us on track and focused on what's before us today, and I want to bring it to all my colleagues' attention. What has to happen is every year we have to basically put on the tax rolls the actual projects that we're assessing for funding. And the process that has evolved is basically now in its second year of implementation. And you saw some readjustment of funds from what we call I guess an A list to a B list, so that we can do that. And what it says is now this is ready for the next step of development of a project. Now I'm mentioning it to you because you might have projects that you want to put in the process. And the new RFP for that's going to happen July 1st, is that correct?
That's correct.
And so again, this is an evolving process of as projects get ready for funding that are part of a list, then they move on. And that's what item 7 is about. And so I know that I have, for example, projects that are going through an EIR process that I want to figure out how to get in the Prop K funding mechanism. And so I need to make sure that for the July 1st deadline, that I'm part of that competition. So what's before us today are projects that have already been going through a process and basically are ready to basically be looked at for purposes of that assessment. And that's what item 7 is about. And it's the second year, or is it second or third year?
This is the third year.
Third year of the Prop K cycle. So I just wanted everybody to be aware of it, and also to make you aware of the July 1st for the new RFP process that's going to be going out.
Okay, anyone else want to be heard on,
There's never been a what?
this is item 7.
Item 7.
And we also want to take up 20 at the same time?
Well, do 7 and then 20. 20 is also Prop
Okay,
K.
is there any more further discussion on 7? If not, prepare the roll.
Right.
Tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
That is approved. Forthwith on that. Now we have 20.
20.
Item number 8.
20.
No, we're going to go to item 20, that's the LA Prop
We're
A
going to take
list.
20, it's also Prop K. Okay. You
This
wanna-
is the allocation of monies for this year. As you know, each year, because of the assessment district, we have to ensure that we allocate enough money that we can actually expend or encumber, and this is necessary exchanges between projects in order to accomplish that. Some, there have been savings, and we're allocating those according to item number 20, and recommend approval.
Okay, any discussion on 20? If not, prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
12 ayes, 1 no.
That is approved. Mr. Hernandez, you were eloquent. Next
I'm
item.
glad you appreciate that.
Item number 8, called special for Councilmember Fuhr.
Okay, Mr. Fuhr.
But I called that special out of him being here. How about that?
Yeah.
With respect to item number 8, the first thing I want to do is as a formal matter, there is, I think, what can be described as a good faith disagreement about what the committee action actually was. I've actually gone so far as to listen to the tapes of the committee hearing to ascertain that, and it confirms my understanding, but let's say it's a good faith disagreement. So with respect to the list of projects, I first want to point out that on my view, the Rancho Cienega Child Care Project, which is included as an approved project in the report, is a project that may be worthy of support. We don't know, because there has been, to my knowledge, and certainly not in the joint committee hearing we held, been no discussion of the relative merits of that except to throw it in as a proposal that Mr. Hernandez indicates he seconded. I don't recall voting on it, but there was certainly no substantive discussion about it at all. Nor has there ever been, to my knowledge, in a committee in which I've served, and I sit on all these committees. So I'm going to recommend that with respect to the Rancho Cienega Child Care Project, that for the time being, I'm going to move that be removed from the list of approved projects. We can always add it, and I would participate very enthusiastically in a substantive conversation about its merits at a subsequent committee hearing, so we can actually decide whether it makes sense or not. So that's my first thought on this, my motion. That is on item 8.1. There's a list of approved projects. I'm moving that we eliminate the Rancho Cienega Child Care Project from that list of approved projects and have a committee hearing where we discuss whether that is worthy of bonding in this manner or not. It may prove to be, but I'm not going to vote today for something that has yet to have meaningful conversation at the committee level, and certainly don't expect to have it here. Second, I do rise in support of the balance of what's before us, and that includes the Santa Monica Mountains acquisition. I think, without speaking at great length about this now, we've discussed these issues many times before. I support the idea of setting aside land in the mountains to be withheld from development, to be used for meaningful recreation opportunities and for open space. I'm sure Ms. Mizakowski, in whose district this is, and others will speak very directly to the array of programming that the Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy proposes for the site to, among other things, bring kids who otherwise would have no access to such a facility into the mountains. It's a good idea. I will say that there was a very meaningful discussion in the committee about allocating Prop K resources, our precious resources, to underserved neighborhoods, a discussion which committee members will recall I participate in and agree with. I think we should be finding ways to create additional resources for underserved communities. And while we are continuing the tobacco settlement item until next week, an aspect of that recommendation emerging from my committee, which I will just put on the table now, would set aside in the first 4 years of the settlement more than $9 million that I recommend go specifically to underserved neighborhoods in the city to leverage our scarce Prop K dollars, so we can assure that that funding is going to where it may well be acutely needed. Having said that, I still support this measure today because, in part, of what's coming, and because intrinsically the purchase of the Mountains property, among other things, is important for open space, important for recreation, and important for saving a resource that you can never get back.
Hernandez?
Members of the council.
Mr. Hernandez, let me say that we did have public hearings on this, but there are a lot of people who want to be heard, and I don't think that might be necessary, but you have your floor.
Mr. President, the reason I rise is, one, I'll ask for Mr. Deaton for more clarity on the misinterpretation of the committee report, but I remember the discussion to the effect, and I did not listen to the tapes, I just know what I did, but I remember the discussion, Mr. Holden was trying to put Rancho Cienega in as a child care facility, asking what's the difference between this one and Vineland, and then I second his motion to put it in. And that was there, and I don't remember exactly what staff responded on that issue, because then we got into some other discussions, and that's why it might not be up here. But I did second the motion, and it was there, and that's why when I thought we took the action, it should have been included. But, and again, I want to respect what each one of us is trying to do here. Members of the council, the only reason I rise is I'm the author of Prop K, and our reality as a city, and I want to point to this map that's next to me. This map basically shows the use of the land of the city of Los Angeles. And what I want you to see is the green spots. Because what the green spots represent is park space. Open park space, recreation facilities. Now, this here, for example, is Griffith Park. Here you'll see Elysian Park. And here you see the valley. Now, park space requires maintenance costs, because you got to maintain our parks, requires access, requires all these kinds of things. Now, the yellow zoning is what we call commercial land, and the purple is what we call industrial zoned land, and you got your single family homes. This is that same tale of two cities. Now, I want to show it to you because when I introduced Prop K, and I called it LA for Kids for another reason, and give me this chart. The reason I introduced LA for Kids had to do with this chart. Now, this chart here represents where 18-year-olds and younger live. Now, the reason I'm showing you that is, what it means is the areas out here in the valley, we do have some park space for that youth population. But in the inner city, in the areas where we have the majority of our youth living, we also have zoned commercial and industrial. And what that basically means is that the land value is so expensive, it's difficult for us to create open green space. And that's the real tale of our two cities. A child living out here has more access to parks and recreation facilities than a child living in the inner city. And that's why I called it LA for Kids. I wanted to try and create vehicles to overcome that. Now, what I also want to explain to you is another reality of our city, is when we talk about an assessment district and getting projects that are ready, guess which projects are ready to move down? They tend to be the projects where you already had parks, where you already have space. And what's happening is we continue to create this imbalance. Because a lot more work has to be done in order to create the opportunities that Prop K provides in the inner city. Now, I wanted to bring that to everybody's attention because we are going to take some actions that are basically committing long-term funding of Prop K. And what that means is now we're taking even more resources and applying them to some long-term development and where that goes. And I want to point out, for example, the Children's Museum issue. Because I'm supportive of the Children's Museum, and some people will tell you it was not part of the proposition. As the author of the proposition, its intent was for it to be very much a part of it. The board of directors worked with me on the proposition. They were one of the few organizations that donated. I mentioned it on the proposition. But the question of the location of the museum might not make some sense to some people. Well, they're proposing to put it right here at Griffith Park. Now, the reason it made sense to me is where our children live. I need to point out to you that the population basis of our children citywide, when you want to include the San Fernando Valley and the Pacoima area and so forth, and you want to include the harbor, what ends up happening is Griffith Park tends to be an ideal location. Because having the Children's Museum in downtown LA might not be that ideal location to the kids out in the valley or the kids out in the harbor. So again, that is an issue that the board has been trying to deal with, and they're trying to basically create a better museum in an area that's more accessible to more of our children. So that, from my perspective, made some sense. But at the same time, you got to deal with the issue of losing a children's museum in an area where you don't have enough activities for children. So I wanted to kind of make these comments as an opening because part of my disappointment with Prop K has been our inability to deal with some of those obstacles, to really deal with the principles we talk about when we talk about providing equal access to all our children to open space, equal access to all our children to activities and positive activities citywide, as opposed to continuing the pattern of improving those areas where you already have improvements and neglecting the areas that are being neglected.
Can we leave those names on? We do have to reconsider item 5 to adopt the findings, and Mr. Burnson moves reconsideration of 5. There's no objection, matters before us, and he moves that we adopt the findings attached to the file. Prepare the roll. This is on 5. Tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Okay, that's approved. Forthwith on that. Now, would we put the names back up? Ms. Sikowski, you're next.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise, one, to thank the members of the steering committee, the staff, and the members of both Arts, Health, and Humanity and the ad hoc committee. They conducted multiple hearings, a lot of testimony to arrive at this point. And what this is, as we saw with item 7 and item 20, is a constant updating and constant looking at Proposition K to find ways to stretch our dollars further. The steering committees that we appointed back when Prop K's first grant programs were going through were asked to evaluate all the requests for grants. One of the items, in fact, many of the items that are before us today came through the steering committee recommendations. The steering committees, the Citizens Committee, the VNOX, very early on recognized that there were some problems. There were very valid small request projects, relatively small requests, and there were very large requests for major regional dollars and major dollars. There was no way the Citizens Committee would find that if they supported and recommended a large dollar project, that any of the smaller projects could be funded. So they asked the City Steering Committee to come back and find a way so that the large regional projects could be funded without taking away from the grant requests of the smaller project. That's what this is before us today, the bonding request, with a number of multiple projects, all of which, with one exception, had been recommended by the VNOX, including the Santa Monica Mountain project that I'm moving, we recommend approval of. That's item number 2 on our report today. There are issues about that particular project that deal with access. I have indicated that I have been working with the Santa Monica Mountain Conservancy, who is the grant requester in partnership with the Hollywood YMCA for that particular site, to move all available access points. The Santa Monica Mountain Conservancy is already underway with a study to look at parking on this particular property. If that is not successful, I pledge to work with that community and, in fact, provide parking at the end of West Ridge Road, which leads directly to this property. Right now, it's a restricted parking area because there is not a park there, there is no patrolling, there is no availability to control it. If we get that property into public ownership, then I think we can provide the parking both on-site and immediately adjoining the site on the adjoining streets. And I pledge that to the council and to the entire community. There's also, I was handed today, just the Metro MTA bus schedule, which shows that there is a line, the Sunset line, which runs every 6 to 8 minutes down Sunset. 40% of those buses now have a bike rack on them. By December, 80% of all those buses will have bike racks. They stop right at the bottom of Sunset Mandeville Canyon, adjoining Paul Revere Middle School, which has huge parking available on weekends in particular, not necessarily during the weekday. I think that there has been ample evidence, ample support from throughout the larger community, not just people in my district. The Central VNOC did recommend this project, and I think that the steering committee has recommended it, as has the city engineers, the city legislative analysts, and the CAO. So I'm asking for your support, and we'll be happy to respond to additional questions that are raised about the issue of access.
Ms. Goldberg?
Well, that's the most amazing thing I've heard in this council in a long time. You know, if you want to see what that really looks like, I have it on tape. We have some tape. You can take a look at what it looks like. That bus stops almost a mile uphill from the access road to this particular piece of property. And there's no sidewalks on 2/3 of it. So if an inner city child should by some chance get on a bus and go there, they're going to have to walk up. If you've driven Mandeville Canyon, you know what it's like. Fast cars, blind curves. I'd love to see kids walk up into that area. They're not going to be able to do it. Inner city kids, if you get 4 bus trips a year out of inner city kids going up there, that'll be a hell of a lot. We got on this list $40 million of projects. $40 million of projects. In the poor parts of the city, $2 million is being spent out of the $40 million. $2 million out of $40 million. Now, is this what we thought Prop K was about? Was to pay $3 million for a piece of property that was purchased for $300,000 in 1978? That's a tenfold return on your investment. Do we have a reason to believe that this property is worth $3 million? Let me tell you, I have the city's geological survey from 1996 from the Department of Engineering. The problems of building on that property are so enormous that there is a 4-page report of all of the problems that it would cause to build on it. That property is going to be vacant anyway. It's going to be vacant anyway. You can't even build on that property. And if you could, what you'd get is maybe 1 or 2 houses because of the way it's zoned up there. And instead, we're going to spend $3 million, more than that, because it's bonded. So then you got to pay over time to take a piece of property that's already vacant near some of the wealthiest homes in this entire city, inaccessible by bus, because if you get off the bus, you certainly can't walk up Mandeville Canyon and save your life. And we're going to do that at the expense of bonding money, which will take that money out of the availability for places that have 0.3 acres of parkland per 100,000 people. I think it is outrageous, and I am going to move that we do not include, that we remove this item from this report. I hope I get a second.
Okay, I haven't heard a second yet, but Mrs. Chick, you're next.
That's unbelievable.
Thank you, Mr. President. A couple of comments and then some questions. First of all, in regards to the property owner, quite frankly, I think sainthood is in order. He has stepped back and agreed with a variety of public and elected officials to not go forward with any attempt to develop the property, but rather to sell it to the city. You know, the whole issue of what can be built and should it be built is a separate issue, but this property owner has been asked to do this instead. Second of all, for me, there are 2 issues. One, as most of you know, I'm very focused on the dangers of fire and brush clearance. So I would like to ask or clarify, the city will own this property if we go forward with this. I assume then the city will be responsible for clearing the brush.
That's correct.
We'll own a portion of the
Because
property.
my view of the property is that it abuts homes, and I would like Chief Hill to come forward from the fire department to answer perhaps some future questions. My understanding is that this is in a very dangerous area, downslope canyon, and therefore a piece of property that would be most important to clear and will come on the general fund shoulders to do so. I want to take this opportunity also to point out to my colleagues that while I very much want to see open space preserved, and I support the Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy, and I understand their difficulties with funding, that what we're doing is adding property to them, perhaps not in this case, and they can't clear the brush. The fire department has identified 79 high-priority properties owned by the Santa Monica Mountains Conservancies that abut homes that are not clear to the 200 feet that we are demanding our homeowners clear. We get calls of concerns from those neighbors, and there is real reason to be concerned. So I guess I'm using this opportunity to deliver a message once again to the Conservancy about the need for them to work with our fire department on those identified high-priority areas. That's one issue. The second issue is about accessibility. My colleague, Councilmember Goldberg, touched on some of that, and I would be interested to hear from my colleague that I consider the expert, Councilmember Misikowski, how people really do get to this location, because it's my understanding now that there is an enormous number of streets, colleagues, in this area that have restricted parking. Saturday and Sunday, no parking from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., or no parking 7 days a week from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And that as one street declares those restricted parking hours, it just keeps moving further and further and further down the hill, so that bicyclers, children, adults, whatever, have to be in tip-top shape and champion bicyclers to be able to access the land that's there now, much less this new acquired piece. So I'm interested in hearing responses both on accessibility. Where do cars park? We're removing public streets from the ability of park users to park. If we're going to give $3 million of city money to create this park, I need more assurances on how a broad range of people without enormous difficulty are going to be able to access. And I want us all to realize that we are adding to the expense of making our city and our residents safe from fire hazard by taking on the responsibility of clearing brush from this property. And I'd be interested to hear from the Conservancy about the other properties.
Chair
Thank you.
recognizes Councilman Holden.
Mr. President, members, I think you're asking me to vote to appropriate millions of dollars for acquire some land and to retain open space in an area where you already have 2,349.66 acres of land compared to just 70.93 parkland within my district, the inner city. As you already know, the inner city is limited by how much parkland they can have because of the existing development. However, the population still remains constant. And then when you say to me or members of the inner city, I will not vote for a child care center today, but I'll vote to provide open space in an area where you always have an over an abundance of open space. And you're going to provide an area where the inner city kids can't even go. And yet, that's a certain amount of insensitivity. I mean, I look in the 5th district here and you have a 350.33 acres compared to my parkland, compared to my just 70. Please, I mean, where else do you need a child care, and you have a child care center also, but where else do you need a child care center if you don't need it in the inner city? This child care center is proposed, it was on the bid list, and you know that, proposed to be for Rancho Cienega Park. Rancho Cienega is, on one side of the street is my district, the other side of the street is Mr. Thomas's district. It'll serve both districts. Now, we know that to pay for the debt that will be incurred by this bonding method, which I don't usually like anyway, is going to require some creative financing. And I think Mr. Koski will speak to that. But the fact of the matter is that I don't see any reason why we ought to stall the project. If you're going to stall this, then you ought to kill the Santa Monica Mountain project dead in its track. So if you're going to go for one, I think you got to go for broke. I mean, I would be willing to consider that project if you do two things. One, you provide for adequate transportation for the inner city kids to visit the area. That's one. Two is that if they have to stop at the 405, that's unacceptable. It must be continuous right up into the park area. It must be done on a periodic basis so they have an opportunity to go there. Not that it's just provided for them, but to go there. The other reason why I think I might lean toward that is in the year 2050, some of my grandkids may be living just around the area. They don't live there now. They might just be living right around the area. They'll make it all the way over there by then. and they'll have some open space. Thank you.
Mrs. Walters.
Thank you, Mr. President. I too have some thoughts about the Santa Monica Mountains land, but first I want to speak to the Children's Museum contained in item 8. Item 8 on this agenda with the Children's Museum takes up in the Proposition K that the voters passed and had projects listed in the voter information. The Children's Museum was not so listed. Regardless of what intent folks had, it was not listed. The voters who passed this did not see that. $20 million is set aside in Prop K for regional parks or regional facilities over a 30-year horizon of the existence of Proposition K. The Children's Museum, if this passes today, would take $10 million right off the top, right now. That's half of the 30-year allotment. The proposal is, in addition to giving that money to the museum, the Children's Museum is a privately operated nonprofit group that has existed with great support from the city, and they've paid $1 a year for their lease. The proposal contained herein, in item 8, is to move the Children's Museum out of downtown to one of the far corners of Griffith Park. And I want the city attorney to come up here because their original application had it located in the parking lot of the zoo. And now the city attorney has indicated it's okay for them to move it back around Travel Town where there's no bus transportation that will get young people there. The persons who came to my office on occasion to talk about this, moving it, who were advocating moving it, felt that the site was unseemly and it was too difficult for Valley people to come. Never mind that it's going to be too difficult for inner city young people and their families to get where they're going. This move deprives inner city kids because of no public transportation available to the new location. We heard about the VNOC vote on the Santa Monica property, but the VNOC did not recommend the Children's Museum, and only one VNOC had the opportunity to vote on it, and that was the Central VNOC, and they did not support it. The Southern VNOC and the Valley VNOC did not have the opportunity to vote on it, but both expressed opposition to giving the Children's Museum this kind of money at this time in that location. And I think that we...
Go ahead, finish, but your time is up, but go ahead and finish.
I'll push my button and come back second time.
All right, Ms. Misakowski.
To respond to some of the issues that were raised, I did want to re-emphasize that access is critical on the Santa Monica Mountain piece. I agree with that. There has been already discussion with the Santa Monica Mountain Conservancy on providing an area for cars to park right on this site were we to purchase it. We don't have it right now, so that's why you can't park on it. It's privately held. Because it's privately held and not a park and not having any park patrol, park oversight over it, there have been problems as people come up there, not to a park, but because it's available, and park in the surrounding area where we don't have park rangers, we don't have park patrols, and we have problems. That is why the restricted parking is up there now. When this is purchased, the restricted parking can come down along with the park plan by the Santa Monica Mountain Conservancy of how we can provide parking right up there in addition to all the other parking that's available. This is a site that does connect all the way to Mulholland. Were there a Valley resident who wanted to use this site, it's much more likely that they would come to the Mulholland site, which already has park rangers, parking available, all sorts of information in terms of maps and trailheads, etc., and park right there and come down this slope by hiking or biking and going back up. All of these have to be made a part of the plan. They are a part of the plan. They were a part of the proposal, and I am committed to it either on this site or off. For those who believe it's not developable, we had last year a project out in Council District 2 where there was a lot of reliance on the fact of a golf course in a wash that was not developable. There were geological reports saying it wasn't developable until the end, where it says if you did all of these things, if you fixed all of these problems, it was developable. So a reliance that a property is not developable, particularly in the fact where we have a certified EIR, certified in 1994 by the city planning department and the city attorney, a vested tentative map that has been submitted and ready for a hearing, but for the question of holding off and offering the land for purchase. I tell the members of the council that if this is not purchased, we will see that vested map for development upwards in the area of 30 homes, which is now what's being requested, and that's an alternative. It's a viable alternative, and if we don't, ultimately, after restricting it, after controlling it, after solving and requiring excessive geological review, if we are then faced with the reality of a tract that is approved by the city, we will be hard-pressed to now let it go forward and lose the option of purchase. But access is something, and we do have Mr. Edmiston here. Mr. Edmiston, if you could come to the microphone and respond to the issue that about the fire issue and the clearance. I understand that there has been meetings and will be continued meetings with the fire department about the Conservancy and its obligation to clear its brush in areas that it now owns around structures and homes.
Thank you, Councilwoman Miskowski.
Don't be very brief because her time is up.
The answer is we did meet, shepherded by the good offices of Councilwoman Chick with Chief Hill, who's going to be meeting this afternoon about that. We've committed that the most critical parcels will be dealt with across the board. There's a funding issue that Councilman Fuhr dealt with last year. As you all know, the state has not given us the resources, but those critical parcels we've committed to deal with, and we're going to be meeting with Chief Hill. With respect to the access questions, I recall about 6 years ago, Councilwoman Walters put a condition on the vacation of Reseda, that there be a major parking area and a major park at the end of Reseda. We undertook that. We said we will take that on, that we will provide that access if you do vacate that deleterious road. We did it. The community sued us. We were sued by the local elements of the local community. We persevered. That park is there. It's open to everyone. That's our commitment to public access. You've heard the councilwoman of the district make that kind of commitment. We're backing that up. I would finally say, especially with respect to the Adventure Trails program, which is part of this, the Hollywood YMCA. We specifically identified the Hollywood YMCA for this access program for inner city youth because they had such a tremendous record, not only of children from the Hollywood impacted area, but throughout Los Angeles. So that is a part of our program.
Thank you. Mr. Hernandez.
I just want to make sure I understand what's before us. Ms. Chick, I just want to make sure, the owner of this property, we're not voting to make him a saint, are we? I just want to make sure that was understood, because I don't think who owns the property should be the issue we're talking about here. And I think that Ms. Goldberg very eloquently made some statements and made a motion, and I'm not sure if anybody seconded that motion. You know, and normally I'd be seconding that motion. I was very vocal about this issue in committee. There are two canyons that the Santa Monica Mountains purchased, one that ended up being in Ms. Goldberg's district in terms of Alara Canyon, and the other one that ended up being in my district in terms of Rainbow Canyon in the Mount Washington area. And I've really been able to appreciate the role of those canyons in the neighborhoods, especially with the children. And part of what's really bothersome to me right now is we are talking about is the kind of space that Los Angeles lacks and is going to be lacking as our population continues to grow. And as the author of Prop K, I tried to explain to you earlier why I felt it was important and that there be an emphasis on children and where they live. And our realities are we have a landscape act that was the basis of this proposition in terms of an assessment district that has put some tremendous burdens on us. Now, part of the real crutch of my question, and I need the CLA's office to help me answer this, is we're talking about a long-term commitment of some bonding money. And what I need to know is what's going to be left for us to potentially do other projects in the future that are going to need long-term bonding. And what is going to be that process? Because, see, my problem right now is to vote no on this base is also to basically tell the Santa Monica Mountains, your movement's wrong. See, I wish Joe Edmondson was Joe Rodriguez from East LA. And it's because I need that same kind of advocacy by the Santa Monica Mountains on the hillsides and in our open space on the inner city on an ongoing basis. And so I know that there are other avenues that we're looking at for funding at the state level and the federal level, and I expect the commitment to be fulfilled because I don't expect a promise, I expect commitments to be fulfilled, but I need to know from the CLA's office, what does today's vote mean, and what are going to be our opportunities in the future? If this is closing the door, then we should understand that as part of this vote. And I'm talking about projects that could cost in the millions of dollars in order to make happen in the inner city.
Basically, in item 7, you adopted a plan for the next 5 years. Included in that plan is a commitment in years 3 of 1.4 million, year 4, 2 million, up to 2.6 in the third year, and then thereafter roughly $3 to $3.5 million for debt service to pay for these bonds. What the intent of the recommendation is that there are some large projects, the zoo, the observatory, Children's Museum, and Cabrillo, in particular, which were the driving force for bonding. And if any one of those projects, in order to use that money, would take up the money in 1 year or 2 years, and there would not be money for other kinds of projects during that fiscal year. So the intent of bonding essentially was to level out some of these large projects and bring it down to where it doesn't affect the other regional and neighborhood projects. In the case of the zoo, in the case of the observatory and Cabrillo and the Children's Museum, they all have citywide constituency as it relates to people and to school kids. For example, Cabrillo opens its doors for reservations for the year to school kids, and within 3 days, there are no reservations for that entire following year. They are loaded. And that is not just kids from San Pedro, but from kids all over the Los Angeles area. So the intent was to do the $3.5 million per year. At any point in time, you can bond more than that $3.5 million. You can dedicate more debt service than the $3.5 million. The consequence of that is you start to cut into the other projects. And in this 5-year program, if you committed another $1 million to bonding, then in year 6, $1 million of other projects that you've just allocated would have to be removed in order to pay for it. And that's the consequence of doing that. We have attempted, for the most part, to bond only large projects, and with the intent of smoothing out the dollar amounts over a longer period of time.
Okay. Mr. Bernson.
I think Cindy said most of what I needed to hear, and basically I just want to say that the two most important things as far as I'm concerned when it comes to dealing with the things that Prop K were intended for were for children. And I think the Children's Museum, which is antiquated and really unable to cope with the type of numbers that want to use it, not to mention the parking problems and access, staging areas for schools that bring kids down here. The Child Care Center, I heard some opposition to that, but I can tell you that I'm supportive of that. And certainly the other area is preserving some of our natural resources such as open space and the Santa Monica Mountains and areas like Chatsworth Reservoir. Those are the types of things, even though Chatsworth Reservoir isn't in this thing, I wish it was, but we'll get it in the future, Joe. So these are the things that these are the things the people voted for. This is what they want to preserve. It isn't, the kids and the beautiful areas that we have that need to be preserved. So I am going to support it, and I'm going along with Ms. Sikowski's commitments, and I think we should move forward.
Goldberg?
Well, I know it's a losing battle, but I just have to say for the record that it's not, I don't believe, what the people of this city thought they were getting was to take public money that is spent by taxpayers, and to continue to put it in places where people have a hard time getting to it. I was one of the original supporters of the Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy. I was with a group of people throughout this city who lobbied in Washington and in Sacramento to help get it established. So I have no apologies for that, because open space is very important to me. But I do not believe that Prop K should be used to do it. I think there are other ways to maintain open space, and I do not believe, in spite of all of their best efforts, that most of the children who are in park-poor areas will ever see this park in the Santa Monica Mountains. They don't even know it exists, and they won't have any way to get to it, and they won't have anybody to help them understand it when they get there. And that's the reality. In spite of everybody's best intents and best commitments and best promises, that's what's going to happen, and I don't think it's fair. I think it's another case of the rich getting richer, and we just can't seem to find a way to do it in the other parts of the city. So I will object, although I don't even have a second, so I guess I'll just have to vote no on Ms. Misikowski's motion. But I really can't do it silently, because I think it's a travesty, and I would not be happy with myself if I didn't say so.
Mrs. Walters?
Thank you. Ms. Goldberg, I will second your motion for the purposes of discussion, if that helps. And I know it's a bitter pill this morning, because the intent of Proposition K was to get more park space and recreational facilities for inner city youth. At the time Mr. Hernandez got the idea for doing this, he was a member of the Arts, Health, and Humanities Committee, as I was its chair, and we both chafed at the Quinby funds that came through time after time, where they never went to inner city neighborhoods. And so now to see this $10 million go for the Children's Museum, one of the few facilities accessible to poor neighborhoods, to be taken out of the neighborhood, it's just a hard pill to swallow. And more than being a hard pill to swallow, there's an arrogance here on the part of those advocates with whom I have talked and with whom I have met, that somehow the inner city is not deserving of this, or it is not up to par for their children to come. That's the stuff of the Balkans, folks. I had asked the city attorney to come, and I wanted to ask about that application, and I'm going to ask you to respond to that. The other question I want responded to, I'm an ardent advocate of the Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy, but I don't know if I'm an advocate of this particular purchase. The land is currently not buildable, and I know there's been some conversation in the news articles that the seller was overpricing the property. And so I want to know if the city's appraisal of the property equals that this selling price is for. So, Mr. City Attorney, can you answer both questions?
I can answer the first, but I think the CLA might have information on the second.
And I'll ask the CLA to respond to the second.
With regard to the first question, Mark Brown, Assistant City Attorney, I believe, if I understand your question, the Children's Museum was originally planned to be in the zoo parking lot in Griffith Park. And
right, and then they moved it to another less accessible part of the park.
Well, they didn't move it. It was at the city's requirement that the Children's Museum be relocated, because the zoo parking lot apparently cannot accommodate the facility, and I think that is the distinction upon which we based our advice, that it's not really a change in the proposal. It is a close-by location within Griffith Park, and we removed the possibility of the proposer performing at the location that they proposed. So
Well,
that,
it's
it's our
not-
advice that it is not illegal for it to be
All
in
right,
the other
fine.
location.
But it's not all that accessible. The one you moved it to, there's no bus that goes there, it's a long walk, just like these others. All right, CLA.
The appraisal is in progress. If the appraisal for some reason comes out at an amount less than the $3 million, then we'll have to come back to council. But if the appraisal is in process right now.
Well, I question whether or not we should vote for this with $3 million in here. It doesn't say anything in the report about it being subject to the appraisal.
Well, in those instances, in the past, in the 5-year plan, in each year's plan, there's been dollar amounts to acquire different pieces of property. In some cases, the appraisals have come in at less than that amount. Sometimes they've come in at more than that amount. In either case, we've either negotiated with in those instances when the appraisal has been lower, we've indicated to the property owner we cannot pay that much, and if they're not interested, then we cease negotiations. But in every instance, we try to get it for the less amount we can. So this is not, we have done this before, is what I'm saying.
Well, I'd like for this, because there's been so much in the paper about the price of this property, statements by the current owner and by other people around there that have said it's not worth the amount of money that is being asked for. And so I want the report to show that this is subject to an appraisal of the property.
Contingent upon, no problem.
Thank you.
Okay, Mrs. Chick?
Yes. Is there going to be staff or rangers at this location?
Is there conservancy staff?
Yeah, I guess I'm at.
Basically, there is. It's up on Mulholland, and they use the fire road to get down to Westridge.
Okay, because I think I'm confused then by a comment you made, Councilmember Misikowski, regarding access and parking, and you said something about there are no rangers in some of these places, and so that led me to believe that there would be staff here that would change the accessibility. So if you could address that, or someone could. But I was listening to Mr. Edmonston about the Reseda issue and that the Conservancy was sued, and thinking, how ironic and unfair. Homeowners don't want the area developed up there, understandably. They want the Conservancy or government to keep it open space, to maintain it, to preserve it, to clear the brush, to keep them safe from fire hazard. And they also don't want people parking on their streets or having a parking lot on the property so that people drive by their streets and use it. It really does not make sense to me. I just want to make sure I understand the commitment. Mr. Edmondson has just confirmed to me that in the funding that they are seeking from the state for their part of what they are going to pay for this property, that they will seek and use some of those funds to build a parking lot on this facility. I'd like to hear how many vehicles that parking lot would be able to hold. And if that parking lot is not created, then the public streets in that vicinity will be reopened to park user use. So,
If you're asking me that question in terms of confirming your understanding and what you've just expressed, I give you my word that that is my understanding and my commitment. And I feel that it's appropriate to have the council members looking over my shoulder and looking over the shoulder of anyone in and around the area of the Santa Monica Mountains where we are making purchases to make sure that those purchases are open and accessible. That's what it's all about. That's what the commitment is on my own part and on the part of the Conservancy. Just to explain the ranger issue, right now, as there has been congestion and use of this private property, the Santa Monica Mountain Conservancy and its rangers, whether stationed at Mulholland, cannot come down to this site and get involved in helping to deal with disputes of parking and problems or make available space on the site for parking because they don't own it. Once this is owned, then those rangers who are now both at the Mulholland site can come down, open and unopen a parking lot, whether daylight or dusk, et cetera, and patrol it and be helping to make sure that this is available and accessible.
And the size of the parking lot, because if it's going to hold 10 cars, that doesn't quite cut it, then it shouldn't be an either-or. It should be parking lot and remove restricted parking.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Holden?
Well, Stacy, where are you? Would you take the table, please? On my time as president, I'm going to ask, because Stacy was not here, but she's been working on this child care center project. She can tell us where we are and why we're.
I missed the conversation about the Rancho Cienega Child Care Center, but I understand there was an objection to that by members of council. The Victory Vineland Child Care Center and the Rancho Cienega Child Care Center are the exact same project proposed by the Department of Recreation and Parks for the exact same amount of money that were applied for in Prop K competitive. So in committee, the question became, why was Victory Vineland put forward and not Rancho Cienega? It was moved, it was seconded, it was put into the bonding. Now, I don't know what the concern was, but I was just here to address that, whatever.
Thank you very much. Mr. President, members, that I think our top priority are the children, where they can be cared for. Child care centers is an appropriate place to do that. I would support both child care centers in this proposal. I'll also support with that, Mr. President, money's coming to the inner city, and this whole package, if it includes Santa Monica Mines and the inner city, I think that's what my function ought to be, and my vote ought to be there as well. And for that reason alone, then, I will vote for the proposals before us.
Mr. Ridley Thomas.
Mr. President, it seems to me that there is a way to move through the discussion that has been presented, and I think it's a very substantive discussion. The range of issues and needs throughout the city are compelling, and we should do all that we can to satisfy them, from recreational activities and open space to the needs of children throughout the city, to the activities that are delineated in some of the amending motions, those that are presented by Ms. Walters and myself. It seems to me that we should find a way to accomplish that. I'm very concerned about the distribution of these resources being spread in such a way that it symbolizes or resembles some form of how we are trying to meet needs citywide, but not only in terms of where people have to travel, but in fact where these respective venues to be improved or built are to be located. And so, Mr. Deaton, it would seem to me if you could respond to the amending motions, the matter that was inserted for a child care center in CD 10. Those seem to me to be matters that are very important that warrant our attention, and Prop K is a prime way to do it. Sir.
Well, what the steering committee presented to the council was a series of projects that, if we borrowed the monies for those projects, we had enough money in the 5-year plan in order to accomplish that. With the addition of the 4 projects in mind, which total about $10 million, on an annual basis, we're going to be roughly $500,000, if everything goes through, about $500,000 out of balance on the borrowing. In other words, we won't have the debt service to pay for these projects. I have no problem with a conditional approval of those 4 projects, condition on the following. One is whichever we need from the other projects, which is that matching dollars for those are available, or a way is found to accomplish that. And secondly, that we live within the dollar amounts of debt service that we have. And if we can't do that with these 4 projects, that we report back to you. There are, at times, projects that fall out and don't do that. We can move ahead on these 4 projects and and basically try to make it work. And I'm willing to give that to attempt to do that. But realize that right now, if you go back to the 5-year plan, on the last, devil's in the details, and the last line virtually is the dollar amount for debt service. The debt service goes up to $3.6 million for 40. It'll go up another $700,000 or $800,000 at that point if we add these 4 projects.
Mr. President, pursuant to that, I would move that 8, A, B, and C, as well as the additional item in the committee report be adopted pursuant to Mr. Deaton's explanation and recommendation.
And I will withdraw my motion, given Mr. Deaton's comments. So, Conrad, you can take that off because we have a different way to do it.
You didn't have a second anyways. Mr. Hernandez?
Members of the council, I think we all mean well. Well, and I say that very cautiously. And it's because, one, I don't have a problem with the amendments that were before us. In fact, many of us would like to be able to get the full $740 million or $25 million Prop K talked about in advance. The reality is, in real dollars, it was reduced to $400 billion. Our reality is, as we bond, those dollar figures get reduced also. And the amendment that requires that the debt maintenance cost and basically the interest rates be put up as a match, I think satisfies part of that requirement. The reason I use the word think is part of what I think we want to do as public policy makers who are representing areas of need is we want to understand processes to get the projects done. Now, I'm explaining that to each and every one of us because right now, what we're going to end up is with a lot of wish lists that could basically take up bonding dollars that might not happen. And I want to make sure, as part of these amendments, that the steering committee is making sure that those dollars are available to happen and not necessarily being held on a shelf that is costing us money if a project's not moving.
Can I do something to this?
Yeah.
The steering committee has and will, is its major attempt is to get these projects done on time, within budget, and we will not in any fashion shirk from that primary responsibility. I think that the city has suffered in the past for promising certain things to be done and then not getting them done. And if you come to the steering committee meetings, and some of the departments will attest to this, we are very rigorous in checking every meeting relative to status, how much money. If it's not progressing, we shift. That was why reason we had number 20. We shifted funds because projects got behind. If they get behind, they're dropped for that year, and we move on to the next project in order to get those things accomplished. We will not deviate from that policy.
And Mr. President, I don't think Mr. Deaton took up my time on purpose, but I'd like to be able to finish some of my comments because I think it's important that the volunteer oversight committee system also have that opportunity to be part of this learning process. I honestly believe that we as policymakers, because of term limits, might not be here at a time when crucial work has to be done, and we're going to be depending on their oversight and their ability to make sure that we're following through on some of these projects. But again, there's a process, and the city, in its ways, we are continuing to look at that process as to how to reduce it. And again, I have no problem with a lot of the amendments we've made. The goal of Prop K, just to remind everybody, the principle behind it was to create opportunities for youth. And I think that all the projects before us are, in some way or another, trying to accomplish that.
Okay. All right. Mr. Wax?
President, and I know Mr. Wax has got a plane to catch, so I'm not going to impede his progress very much. Mr. Ridley Thomas has moved A, B, and C, and I would concur in that. In fact, I've authored 8A and 8B. And with that, I'd move the project. It hurts, folks, but I'm moving.
Motion,
Finish my comments. I didn't get an answer on the size of the parking lot. Councilmember Miskowski, I would hope you would consider as a friendly amendment, since I think I'm articulating what you have made as a commitment, that part of the approval of this going forward in terms of the Conservancy proposal is that either a parking lot of at least 30 spaces is provided on the site, or all parking restrictions are removed from public streets within a 1-mile radius of this property.
That we would like to make as part of the committee report.
Thank you.
okay, Mr. Wax. Mr. Wax moves the previous question, which means the debate will be terminated. Okay.
I don't think my time is up, and I would like to ask Mr. Edmonston, what is the size?
Your time is up. Your time is up.
Well, I didn't use 3 minutes.
You relinquished your position, and Mr. Wax moved the previous question. So prepare the roll on the previous question. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes, 2 noes.
What is you're asking? You're going to ask somebody else to clarify it.
I said 30 spaces because it was my impression that that was all that was feasible. If Mr. Edmondson says more is possible, I think that's advantageous for everyone.
Make it at least.
I'm sorry?
Make it at least 30 spaces.
And to a maximum that's feasible there.
All right. Okay. The previous question, prepare the roll on the previous question. Tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Okay. All right. We have some motions that are 8A.
It takes away from the Children's Museum.
The motion's on the table. 8D is a verbal motion by Goldberg Walters to delete recommendation number 2 from the report.
Yeah, let's vote on that first. Prepare the roll.
No, on the one that's deleted. I need to know.
Tabulate the vote.
4 ayes, 9 noes.
That was failed. The next item.
There's 8E, which is the friendly amendment Chick motion, to at least 30 spaces on site to a maximum feasible, or all parking restrictions removed within 1 mile.
Okay, prepare the roll on that. Tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
That is approved. Next item.
We have 8C, 8B, and 8A as amendments.
Ask 8A, yeah, we should take them one at a time.
One at a time.
8C is a Mark Ridley Thomas motion to add Green Meadows Recreation Center for $2,992,000.
That's conditional approval per amendment included my...
Do we have the money for that?
A and B have the same conditions attached.
Their conditional approval relative to match and having enough debt service given other projects.
This is not at the museum exposition park, is it?
No.
Is 8C adding a new project that has not gone to committee? Yes?
Yes.
But again, members of the committee, I think they still have to meet the same conditions before they're bonded. It has to.
All right, prepare the roll.
Clarification. Yes, point of clarification, they all do, and that was the motion that Mr. Deaton was explaining.
And then it comes back?
Yes.
Right.
Okay, prepare the roll on 8C. Tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
That is approved. Now we have 8B.
8B is a motion by Walters Wax that item number 8 be amended. Excuse me. Engine Company 23 for $2,300,000. South Central Sports Activity Center for $2,740,000.
Okay.
With the same provisional.
Yeah, it'll have to go to committee first. All right. Okay, prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
That is approved. Now we have 8A.
I ask for a no vote on 8A, Mr. President. It reduces the funding.
You want to explain 8A, Mr. Deaton?
8A would reduce the funding for the Children's Museum to $5 million. It would allow $1 million for the design in next coming fiscal year, $4 million in subsequent funding, and require a $5 million match from the Children's Museum to make up the total amount of the project for $10 million.
Okay. Prepare the roll. Prepare the roll.
Ask for no vote.
Tabulate the vote.
4 ayes, 9 noes.
That failed. Now we have the committee report as amended, including item 2. Prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes, 2 noes.
That is approved. Forthwith on that. Next item.
Item number 10, called special. Councilmember Goldberg.
Item number 10. Ms. Goldberg, you call 10.
I just had one question, which is how much money, I want to know if this contract was competitively bid. It says there are personal service contracts between the city and contracted computer training for $100,000 and soft train computer training centers for $100,000. Was this a competitive bid?
Mr. Ridley Thomas, item number 10. Was that a competitive bid?
Mr. President, give me just a moment to...
Is there staff here, maybe, that can help us?
If we can hold this on the desk for a moment or continue it, it's fine with me.
We have staff.
There's staff, okay.
Okay.
Jim House, City Administrative Office. Yes, the contract was competitively bid.
Okay, that's great, that's great. And it's subject to the living wage?
I'd have to, as far as I know.
Well, let's make it conditioned on that basis, if you don't mind.
Yeah, it is subject to the living. That was a statement rather than a question. So I'd like to just move to add an item 3 that says these contracts are subject to the living wage ordinance.
Ms. Goldberg, this is a further clarification. It was in October of '97 that this RFP did go out for a competitive bid.
Yeah.
All right?
That didn't say, and I just wanted to know.
It's in this report.
Oh, okay, I didn't see that.
There's no objections to adding 3 living wage, so prepare the roll on 10 as amended. Tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
That is approved. The next item.
Item number 21, called special by Councilmember Fuhr.
Mr. Fuhr?
Yeah.
There's another one you called special when you weren't here.
Yeah.
How many more we gotta go?
No, I didn't call it special. John?
3, 24, and 20. You're okay?
Yeah.
Okay, prepare the roll on 21. Tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
That is approved. Next item.
Now is the time for public testimony on non-agenda items.
What about 3?
We're still holding that on the table.
We have 3 items, right? It's gone.
Item number 3 is before us. We do have
As amended.
We do have a lot of people want to be heard.
You do?
We
had filled out,
why don't you
speaker
tell
cards
us
for the
what your
public
amendment is, and then we'll,
Yeah, colleagues,
public hearing item.
this is a community plan update. There was one particular controversial piece of property, and a consensus agreement has been worked out with the concerned parties. One of the concerned parties was the city of Hidden Hills. We all represent the city of Los Angeles. I'm happy Hidden Hills is happy, but we just need to go forward today.
Okay. Is there anybody that wants to be heard in opposition?
It's the City of Hidden Hills, City Attorney Amanda Suskind. I wanted to restate the comments that had been made before the Planning Commission and the Plum and reincorporate into the record the letters we've submitted. However, we do agree with the amendment. We are deeply grateful, Councilmember Chick and her staff, especially Debbie Diner, for all the work that's been put in. Thank you.
City Attorney, typical city attorney, they want to talk and talk and talk. Next item. Who else wants to be heard? Okay, then the public hearing is closed. We have an amendment. Prepare the roll on the amendment. Tabulate the vote.
12 eyes.
That is approved. Now we have 3 as amended. Prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
Eyes.
That is approved forthwith on that. Next item.
Now is the time for public testimony on non-agenda items.
How much time do we have for public comment? 10 minutes? 10 minutes. Okay, we have Paula Ortega. 10 minutes, and we have a lot of cards, so we ask you to be very brief. Paula Ortega, you're not moving very fast.
I'm here.
Go ahead.
Hi, hello. My name is Paula Berrigan Ortega, and I work at USC. I was a student there till very recently, and I also worked there for 6 years. I'm here today because 6 months ago we came here, USC workers, along with community and religious leaders, to request that you call President Sample, and we want to know what happened with that. To this day, we have not seen any results. It has not been settled, and that means that workers that have been there for 20, 25 years and me for 6 years will lose their jobs very soon. So we want to know what was the follow-up on that.
Okay. Okay, thank you. We have other people who want to be heard.
Okay,
Please.
thank you.
Okay. Okay, Linda Silverstein.
Hi, my name is Linda Silverstein. I'm here in regard today to ask the council to consider making Lake Hollywood Dog Park to have an off-leash area. We have petitions today, and we'd like to give them to you in representation of the community as well as the people that live in the neighborhood. We'd like very much for you to take this under consideration.
Okay, thank you. Fran Rickenbach.
Hi there, people. Today I'm here to, I was here on agenda item number 23, first of all, and you didn't bring that up. Is it tabled?
It was continued.
Is it continued? Okay.
It was continued until Friday, I believe.
All right. I live in the Hollywoodland community. We have that dog park area that's been an off. Well, we've been using it as off leash, and we've got a lot of complaints from the park rangers mostly. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to put forth a proposal where we could have an off leash area and an enhanced private family area. So I hope that you'll pay attention to these the people from Hollywoodland Homeowners Association. They've done a lot of work to collect these signatures, okay? John?
Don't I always pay attention to you?
I hope you do. Okay.
Thank you. All right. Augusta Weaver.
Hello, Councilman. My name is Augusta Weaver, and I'm here as a property owner, resident, and citizen of Los Angeles, that Lake Hollywood Park be redesigned. Due to the petition drive, we have approximately 500 signatures representing the Lake Hollywood Estates and Hollywoodland areas and Beechwood Canyon citizens, that this will initiate a positive dialogue today between our community, the City Council, and Parks and Recreation, that this park will be redesigned with an expanded children's area and a designated legal off-leash area.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Clint Simmons. Clint Simmons, and then Mr. Cox.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. I'm here as part of the Baldwin Homeowner Association, and I'm a resident of the 10th Councilmanic District. And many of us are here today to show our support for our present City Councilman, Mr. Nate Holden, and we want to make sure that Mr. Mark Ridley and others who have came down and telling us who we are to vote for, and I want them to be aware of the fact that we definitely vote for our own candidate, and we don't need the full council members, Ms. Walters, Mr. Ridley, Ms. Goldberg, and another one there to tell us who we are to vote for. So I want to thank you for giving me a chance to make that statement, and I prefer that Other council members worry about their own council district except when there's a mutual agreement.
Okay, Mr. Cox, and then Mrs. Williams.
Yes, I'm a young man, a resident of the 10th District, and I'm just speaking in behalf of what I recognized a week ago as various council members come into the 10th District to propose that Councilman Holden not be reelected and to push forth seeking to have an unknown come and represent our district. Since I've been in the district and since the councilman has been the councilman of this district,
Well, how much we're paying an hour?
it used to be an abundance of gang activity, graffiti, prostitution, and all types of things that have been rid from our community since the councilman has been the councilman of our district. And I just took it kind of personal because it hurt my feelings to see that the councilman has been given such disregard in the things that he's accomplished for our district. Since he's been in office these last 12 years, our district has really improved, is really clean. We don't see any gang violence. We don't see any more prostitution. We don't see any more graffiti. Members of his staff come out on the weekends and paint out graffiti. And, you know, it's just kind of appalling when you see various colleagues of the councilman come into the district which he represents so thoroughly and then come about bringing false accusations against him to those that are unaware, but the ones that are aware stand behind the councilman 100%. Thank you very much.
Okay, we appreciate. Mrs. Williams?
Mr. Chairman and all members of the LA City Council, my name is Mrs. Armide Williams, a 41-year member and a resident of the 10th Council District. We're here today as representatives of the voters of the council, 10th Council District. And our concern today is the announcements from council persons and other elected officials who we understand publicly endorsed a candidate for the first time in history in someone else's district. We deeply feel that we are fully capable of choosing our elected officials, and we show this at the ballot when we vote. We are a grassroots group who felt that we must let you know how we feel. Leave the 10th District alone. We, as residents of the district, we will determine who you will work with coming June the 8th.
Thank you, Mrs. Williams. Okay, is there anyone else that, okay, we just have 2 minutes left. Larry Ross, 2 minutes, Larry Ross.
Or is it due to the fact you already know what I shall say?
Did you call Vernon Payne?
Go ahead, you have the floor. You're just taking Mr. Ross comes all the time.
I know he does. I look at council meetings every night. This is to the council people that came into our district. They should clean up their own backyards before they throw stones with their blighted areas. In the 10th District between La Brea Avenue and Redondo Boulevard, there is not 77 homes there. It is approximately 35. I am given the benefit of the doubt. And the homes are not as quaint as someone has claimed that they are. So Ridgely Thomas District is blighted, and the other council district is blighted, and another council district is blighted. So do something in your own district before throwing stones.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Okay, Larry Ross, you have a minute. And you've been here many times, so a minute is plenty of time for you.
Not for today. Very, very important information I want to impart.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you have some more important information.
Well, if not, I'll come back on Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. But I will begin today by saying, Matthew 5:3 says, "Happy are those conscious of their spiritual needs, since the kingdom of the heavens belongs to them." So the scripture acknowledges that true contentment, fulfillment, enjoyment, and happiness come through and by developing a good working relationship with the Creator. Therefore and foremost, for life to be meaningful and purposeful, there must be, as top priority, a good relationship with the grand instructor and Creator. Secondly, for life to be meaningful and purposeful, there must be meaningful goals to aspire to, channels available for expressions of thoughts and ideals, opportunities to pursue meaningful or purposeful, worthwhile and or productive endeavors have to be accessible.
Okay,
and the
Mr.
privileges must be there and open to allow all unrestrainedly those with the necessary qualifications.
All right, Mr. Ross.
I will return on Tuesday
Yeah,
and Wednesday of
please-
next
please-
week to say what I should have been allowed to say today.
Please do. We
But
look
been
forward to
prevented
seeing
from
you.
doing so.
We look forward to seeing you. And when you get that $1 zillion, don't forget us.
Don't worry, that's the minimum amount.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Okay, the public comment period is closed. Let's clear the desk, and we're going to executive session.
The desk is clear.
Nothing else on the desk? All right, we're going to an executive session, so all those not involved with the executive session, please leave the council chamber. Yes. Did you notify, we're back in open session. Would everyone please stand? We do have adjourning motions. Mr. Alatorre and I would like to move that we adjourn in memory of Dan Cook, who was a spokesperson for the police department for over 20 years. Worked with, I think, Ed Davis, Tom Redden, Daryl Gates, and did a really a good job, and we'll do all members. Any others? Mr. Holden?
Mr. President, I'm really sad to announce that Irene Suga, she, a longtime resident of 10th District, she just passed away at 79. A memorial service will be held Friday, May 7th, at the Grace Chapel of Inglewood. She leaves a son, David, one granddaughter, but she's very active in the Say-Anon Senior Citizen Center on Jefferson for many years, and whatever they needed, they went through her, and she arranged for the city to be very, very supportive. Certainly that's a person to be missed.
Call the roll. Council is adjourned. Mr. Alatorre?
Yes, the ad hoc committee and the budget will meet immediately in 5 minutes.
Immediately in 5 minutes.
I gotta help the guy out.